Look at all these boxes.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, June 15, 2023. This is your award-winning Gibbo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1564.
This is No Agenda.
Opening the talent keyhole and broadcasting live from the heart of the Texas Hill Country here in FEMA Region number 6 in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where the greatest play in baseball is stolen home, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
What happened to sumo wrestling?
The tournament doesn't start till next month.
Oh, I thought the tournament was had already come and gone.
Yes, it's 6 times a year.
Oh, thank goodness. For those who missed it, we can come right back with more. Lovely. Just lovely. So you're watching baseball, really?
Are you familiar with stealing home base?
Of course. You're on third base, and then, you steal the home base. Is that not what it is? Am I incorrect?
But you just don't waltz over there.
No, that's why it's called a steal. No, I'm familiar. I used to play baseball with the Flying Dutchman, the KLM team, in my youth.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Did you ever steal home?
No, I sucked horribly, but I played on the team. No, I did not steal. I think, what is the of course, I hit a ball from time to time, but what is the position where you put the worst player?
Well, either left or right field, depending.
Yeah, I think it was left field. I could catch fly balls, though. I could do that. I was pretty good.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that was it. But, then I had to throw it and be like, boink, bounce. Throw it to the pitcher.
Did you have to take the glove off your hand to throw it?
No, of course not. I'm not that horrible. I did have, I had 2 gloves. I actually learned how to throw and catch a baseball with one. It was my grandfather's when he played for the Pawtucket, I forget what a Rhode Island team, and it had 3 fingers. Old school, very, very old school glove. And that glove was pretty good. Had a good pocket.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry I brought this up.
Yeah, you should be. Well, it was like deja vu all over again. Just last month, I remember driving back from Austin and hearing the breathless following of the former president's motorcade. And I was driving back again from Austin, from getting my hair cut, and again this we're following the president's motorcade. And it was deja vu. But the thing that was different is, although there was incessant coverage of the former president's motorcade, when it came to anything after that, it was like, no, we can't show this. This is just, it's too disgusting to listen to this man. We can't hear we don't care what he has to say.
Oh, yeah. So they'll show the motorcade.
Yeah, exactly.
Boring as it is.
Oh, yeah. Now, this is
But then when Trump says something, cut it.
And this is, it looks like it's a mix of the state police and Secret Service as the president. And he will be brought into the courthouse. He will be fingerprinted. This is not with ink. This is with modern, just a scan. There will be no pictures, no mugshot taken of the former president. There's enough on file that are accurate. Blah, 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 blah. Now, so then that's all done, and then you get this, CNN. Jake Tapper.
Serious national security laws, and then obstructing and refusing to cooperate with the FBI.
Whatever this spectacle is that's unfolding before us, let's remember what this case is about. Let's remember what this indictment charges. Again, Donald Trump is charged with a series of federal felonies for mishandling the most sensitive government documents that we have, and for obstruction of...
the most sensitive, not just the most
sensitive government documents that we have, and for obstruction of justice, along with Walt Nauta, who is charged with intentionally setting up lies to the grand jury, to the FBI. Any way you look at this, and again, despite whatever may be going on in that restaurant, this case isn't going to be settled legally in a cafe. It's going to be settled in the court based on the facts and law.
The folks in the control room, I don't need to see any more of that. He's trying to turn he's trying to turn it into a spectacle, into a campaign ad. That's enough of that. We've seen it already.
Take it away. It's making me nauseous. Take it away from my eyes. Control room. Folks in the control room. wasn't quite as egregious as MSNBC. This was perhaps, this will go down in history.
By the way, you should stop and mention that what you're playing is Jake Tapper.
Yes.
Telling them to stop covering Trump.
Yeah, that's exactly. I don't know what
on the air.
You think that's bad? Oh no. This next clip, that was just warm up. This next clip shows you how news works in the United States in 2023. It's been like this for a long time, but this was truly the best from MSNBC, an NBC News product.
I need to say that former President Trump has just started making public remarks, just as he did on the evening of his first arraignment on criminal charges. That was April, when he was booked on 34 felony counts brought by the state of New York. Now, tonight, after his arraignment on federal felony charges, he's speaking again, this time to an audience of his supporters that's gathered for a campaign fundraiser tonight at his golf club and summer home in New Jersey. We knew heading into this that he was planning to make these remarks. We are prepared for his pre-fundraiser remarks tonight to again be essentially a Trump campaign speech. Because of that, we do not intend to carry these remarks live. As we have said before in these circumstances, there is a cost to us as a news organization to knowingly broadcast untrue things. We are here to bring you the news. It hurts our ability to do that if we live broadcast what we fully expect in advance. To be a litany of lies and false accusations, no matter who says them.
That's right.
And I do not say this with any glee. I hope it is clear that this is not a glib decision. We take our responsibilities seriously. We revisit decisions like this all the time. Yes. We make the best call that we can in real time, every time. But tonight, our call is this. We will monitor that speech by the newly indicted former president. We will not carry his remarks live. If he says anything newsworthy, we promise we will turn that right around and bring it back to you.
Amazing. Amazing. All the time they spent on the motorcade. But, it hurts us as a news organization, but we just can't put lies out there, no matter who says it.
What lies did she expect to hear? All he was doing was defending himself.
Well, I have some of those lies, if you're interested in hearing. I have 2 short clips of the lies. Lies.
The ridiculous and baseless indictment of me by the Biden administration's weaponized Department of Injustice will go down.
That's a lie. It's a lie. It's Department of Justice, not injustice. It's a lie. Take him off the air.
Will go down as among the most horrific abuses of power in the history of our country. Many people have said that. Democrats have even said it.
No, that was you. That was him. It's a lie.
This vicious persecution is a travesty of justice. These criminals cannot be rewarded. They must be defeated. You have to defeat them. Because in the end, they're not coming after me. They're coming after you, and I'm just standing in their way. Here I am. I'm standing in their way, and I always will be.
Lies. We can't have our MSNBC viewers exposed to such lies. But wait, there's many more lies.
We have a communist state. They used to use the term deep state. I'm stopping it. I'm using it Marxist. I'm using it fascist. I'm using communist.
That's a lie. We have a democracy.
Because deep state is far too soft. Far too soft. At the end of the day, either the communists win and destroy America, or we destroy the communists. We are a nation in decline. And now these radical left lunatics want to interfere with our elections by using law enforcement. It's totally corrupt, and we can't let it happen. This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will roll out the fake news media. We will expose the rhinos for what they are. We will defeat Joe Biden, and we will liberate America from these villains once and for all. We're going to liberate our country.
All lies. And I have to say, it's like this kind of is deja vu as well. I think I heard this before. And that's what I hear from a lot of people. Well, he didn't really do it last time. Will he do it this time?
Well, I have some counter programming here.
Oh, you Russian spy, you.
Just to balance it out a little bit, this character called Chip Gibbons, who is an Anti-Espionage Act specialist, hates it. And Chip, who sounds a lot like a woman, but I can't tell whether he's trans or not. But
okay,
he showed up on Amy Goodman's show.
Oh, hold on.
Play the warning.
Yeah, here we are.
Amy Goodman clip inbound.
And he added a little dimensionality to this whole thing that I thought was definitely educational. And something we should keep in mind.
Okay.
This is Chip Gibbons on the irony of the Espionage Act.
Espionage Act has been used to go after traitors and spies. It has nothing to do with a former president legally keeping his own documents. As president, the law that applies to this case is not the Espionage Act, but very simply the Presidential Records Act, which is not even mentioned in this ridiculous 44-page indictment. Under the Presidential Records Act, which is civil, not criminal, I had every right to have these documents.
We're joined now by Chip Gibbons, Policy Director of Defending Rights and Dissent, where he has advised multiple congressional offices on reforming the Espionage Act. So you have Donald Trump pleading not guilty to 37 charges, Chip. 31 of them related to the Espionage Act. Can you talk about the significance of this and the significance of him walking out of court and compare it to other cases you've been involved with?
Well, it's very significant because here we have a man who, when he was president, his administration presided over 5 different Espionage Act prosecutions. Trump, in that clip you said you played, said the Espionage Act applies to traitors and spies. Not one of those prosecutions was of a traitor or a spy. They were of a reality winner, a whistleblower. They were of Daniel Hale, a whistleblower who gave information about the drone program to the public because his conscience was so shocked by the civilian casualties in it. You had Terry Albury, FBI agent who was disturbed by the domestic war on terror and the surveillance of the Muslim community and the evisceration of the Bill of Rights. You had Joshua Schulte, who was accused and convicted of giving information to WikiLeaks, but he denies it was him. And then you have Julian Assange, the very first time in U.S. history a journalist has been indicted under the Espionage Act.
This is good, and I knew this was coming as I was listening to this Chip person. Do you think Trump might regret not having ever helped out Assange in this case?
I hope so.
And it's always baffled us why he never did anything.
I'm disappointed that Chip here didn't mention that Assange isn't even an American.
Yes.
But okay, so let's go on. And we have to remember this guy hates the Espionage Act, but he points out that Trump used it against people that weren't spies. So let's go on part 2.
All of the charges against Assange pertain to 2010 to 2011 revelations about U.S. war crimes in Iraq and Afghanistan, the U.S. policies at Guantanamo, and these really awful, corrupt backroom deals that the State Department was involved in. So Donald Trump's administration loved the Espionage Act. They didn't use it against traitors or spies. They used it against whistleblowers, journalists, and people accused of giving information to the media. So I think that's pretty significant in and of itself, particularly when you consider there's always been this dual-track system of justice under the Espionage Act. Prior to the Trump case, I've always argued, and I think the Trump case complicates this, I've always argued that Espionage Act prosecutions are inherently political prosecutions, right? If I'm in Barack Obama or George Bush's or Donald Trump's inner circle, and I go to the newspaper and I feed them classified information to promote the drone program, promote the investigation into Assange, or I go talk to Hollywood filmmakers to give them information so they can make a film whitewashing torture, I'm not going to be prosecuted. And the biggest leaker of U.S. government secrets is the U.S. government. Everyone in Washington knows that. But if I go and I'm a soldier in Afghanistan and I'm horrified by the civilian casualties in the drone program, and I watch Barack Obama on TV lie about how protective of human rights this international assassination program is, or I'm in Iraq and I'm horrified by the dehumanization of the Iraqi people and the violence inherent in that sort of neo-colonial occupation, and I go to the media with that information, they're going to prosecute me. So up until Trump, the Espionage Act has always been used as a sort of viewpoint discrimination-based law.
Now, did Trump's DOJ, Department of Injustice, prosecute anyone under the Espionage Act?
Yeah, she mentioned all of them.
No, Reality Winner was not under Trump, was it?
I think we have to look that up, but I think the next guy was.
You say guy.
Well, after Reality Winner.
Oh, yeah. Really?
It was a guy.
Must be. It must be true. So, if I understand this, if you're a whistleblower, let's say you're in the Antarctic and you discovered the earthquake machine, you can go to jail for violating the Espionage Act.
Yeah.
So whistleblowing is bullcrap then. You can't whistleblow.
Well, it depends on whether you produce evidence, and if you're shaking a sheet of classified paper and you whistleblow based on that, that's when they throw the book at you. But I think they throw the book at you anyway. These whistleblowers have not done well for themselves.
No.
I mean, every one of them has gone on about how bad of an idea it is.
Like Binney.
Binney and Thomas Drake.
Yeah, the classic.
Drake's the one who came out and says, do not talk to the FBI.
Right.
And they were legitimate whistleblowers. The whole whistleblowing idea is a sham.
Yeah.
But let's listen to part 3 of this. By the way, this could have gone on for a while. This guy talked and talked. He also mentioned that he is of the opinion that Trump's actually just a obverse side of a deep state coin, citing, for example, that he's the one who broke the embargo on selling arms to Ukraine, and we forget that.
Oh, really? It's interesting because when I look at the troll room, I see people saying this, like he's part of the system. That's what they say about Trump.
If you recall, Obama refused to send anything to Ukraine. And it became a point of contention.
Correct.
And then when Trump got in, he started sending them arms.
Yeah.
Lest we forget.
But it must have been the wrong kind because everyone got all bent out of shape about his phone calls with Ukraine. He wasn't selling the right ones, or he wasn't given old stuff so we could buy new things. He did it wrong. Whatever he did, he didn't do it the right way.
Well, I think an early theory of yours, which is that he was always representing the DIA as opposed to the CIA.
Yes.
Might have something to do with it.
Might make sense, yeah. Okay. Well, let's go to 3.
That's why they got Flynn pushed out of the way as fast as they could.
Oh, man, it just gets deeper. It's deeper. All right.
So let's go to part 3.
Chip.
Because it's an extremely broad law, right? I mean, under the letter of the Espionage Act, if I read in the Washington Post that the CIA thought that Ukraine might bomb the Nord Stream pipeline, and I tweet that, I text that, I just talk about it to a barista, I've violated the Espionage Act, right? Your previous guest was mentioning the difference between Biden, Pence's, and Trump's conduct, and I think that's absolutely correct, but under the breath of the Espionage Act, Pence and Biden, did violate it, just like Trump did violate it for those documents he returned. But because it's such a broad, basically unconstitutional law, it's applied with a lot of limitations put on it. So it's an incredible moment in U.S. history that we have a president who is finally being held accountable under the Espionage Act, as opposed to sort of whistleblowers and journalists who expose the U.S. national security state. And while that is sort of a step away from the dual system of justice we've seen under the Espionage Act, I have to stress, I don't think the Espionage Act as drafted is a legitimate tool. I don't think it should be used to prosecute anyone.
Well, that's pretty decent there on Democracy Now! That's good counter-programming. That's surprising.
I thought it was educational. It kind of like a splash of water,
But surprising you would hear that on Democracy Now! And it kind of begs the question, like, are there two sides of the deep state at war? CIA, DIA? Do we go back to that theory? Is that
or the FBI is involved in there somehow? But I think they've teamed up with the CIA.
Well, the CIA runs them, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's probably true.
They're the local the national honeypot guys. Yeah, they know how to do that. There was something.
Well, something's up.
Well, there's something that popped up on the CIA broadcasting systems. Pixie Girl over there, Harridge, and so they're discussing these documents, and we know that. It's so interesting to hear senators and Congress people saying, I've seen the documents. I can't discuss them with you. And then you hear, everyone just talking about them, these read-in journalists. Well, he had the plans for the invasion of Iran. I can understand why that's an issue, but still doesn't mean that, this is Espionage Act material. But there's a term in here that I had not heard. Well, I've heard half of the term, but I never heard the full term in light of, or in the context of any type of national security and special stuff that we don't want anyone to know. And Pixie Girl had it.
Catherine, you've been doing reporting about the risk assessment, about just what was in these documents. Educate us on that.
Well, what jumps out to me, John, is when you go to the section on the willful retention of national defense information. By my count, there are 21 top secret documents, and the disclosure of top...
Wait a minute. First of all, I saw nothing but boxes and boxes and boxes. There are only 21? Did you see all those boxes? They have
the room's full of boxes. There's boxes in the bathroom. There's boxes in the ballroom.
Only 21. Okay.
And in one room, they'd even tossed a box, which irked Trump. He talked about it. He said, why did they throw this box on the floor?
Well, what jumps out to me, John, is when you go to the section on the willful retention of national defense information. By my count, there are 21 top secret documents, and the disclosure of top secret information has the expectation of exceptionally grave damage to national security. But what else stands out to me is some of the classified codings like TK or talent keyhole. You don't see that very often. That's about intelligence from overhead imagery. For example, if we're looking at a terrorist target, do we have such good visibility that we can count the hairs on their head? Can we see what they're eating for breakfast on their terrorist patio? Those are capabilities that we don't want our adversaries to know that we have.
They know now.
They do know. But did you catch the name of it?
Yeah.
Talent keyhole?
Yeah.
Well, that's what Google bought from In-Q-Tel. Google bought Keyhole. That became Google Maps.
Oh, that's good.
How about that, huh? So this Keyhole thing is a little bigger than we thought. And what did they actually buy? Did they get a Jeep? All they got is a bunch of cars driving around.
Those are capabilities that we don't want our adversaries to know that we have. And then also,
but now they know thanks to you.
Yeah, exactly.
This whole thing makes no sense, and what she just said makes even less sense.
Their terrorist patio. Those are capabilities that we don't want our adversaries to know that we.
And by the way, is it marked the terrorist patio? Is that like does a talent keyhole have a little badge? this is a terrorist patio instead of like, a normal patio.
We have. Yeah. Then also special access programs, or SAP. These are highly restricted programs because of the sensitivity of the intelligence and the technology, such as stealth technology, for example. Think of classified information like the Pentagon. Special access programs are these handful of rooms where there's just a limited number of keys to control and restrict access to that information.
So it's not just secret, it's the top of the top.
Some of these are way beyond top secret. Like I said, talent keyhole, when you're talking about special access programs or SCI, sensitive compartmentalized information, these really are the crown jewels of the U.S. intelligence community.
Okay, so this has got to be the CIA who are pissed off about this. This is, the intelligence.
Crown jewels. Give me a break.
Well, and she's read in. She's obviously read in. No one was able. The only person who said talent keyhole, as far as I could find, was Ms. Harridge here. I thought that was pretty interesting. What do I have here? Do I have?
There's like a lot of I get this. There's a lot of coded messaging going on here with her.
Like, we have this, we seen this, we know this, something like that. I think we're back to CIA, DIA. Then clearly the CIA has the upper hand over the media. Anyway, here's...
Oh, yeah, well, no, they run it.
Yeah. Here's ABC, short reports.
One of the complaints you're hearing from Republicans, this is selective prosecution. They say that, Hillary Clinton wasn't charged, Joe Biden hasn't been charged, Mike Pence hasn't been charged, although he's a Republican. What are the differences?
So Biden, Pence fall into one category, which is it was a mistake. It was an error. If Donald Trump had turned over, as he did, some of the initial documents, we wouldn't be here.
He wasn't charged for any of those documents.
Correct. So he turned over the initial documents. Some of them were highly classified. He wasn't charged. That's comparable to Biden and Pence. Now, Hillary Clinton's a little bit of a different story, but they thoroughly investigated that case, and what they didn't find is that she was doing it on purpose. Yes, she had the server on purpose, but there was no evidence that she specifically and intentionally was trying to obstruct justice. They found after a thorough investigation there that they just couldn't prove that.
And of course, Donald Trump's team was leading the Justice Department for the last 4 years when they could have investigated that and charged her if there was a case.
Yep.
Dan Abrams, thanks very much.
Wow, so good, so good. Oh, Trump's stupid. He should have gotten her. He had the Justice Department. He should have prosecuted her.
There's a little irony in the way they presented that, which is that Hillary, because Trump wasn't the prick that Biden is.
Or whoever. I wouldn't even say it's Biden.
Or one of the many Bidens.
Whoever that guy was on the lawn.
That guy was not Biden.
That guy was not Biden, for sure. So the whole thing is odd. It doesn't seem like any of this will stay. I mean, clearly what they did is those pictures of all the boxes, that was in the indictment. That was in the filing. So that was put in there to... clearly to get the grand jury to indict. Yeah, juice it up, exactly.
Look at all these boxes.
But the whole but Biden, it's not going over well. It's not an answer, and everybody's doing it. Yeah, but can't you see what Biden's doing? It's not an answer. And the woman who I guess wants to be Trump's running mate, Carrie Lake. Oh, she just jumped on this like crazy. She's the number one now on iTunes with...
this I do not know.
Oh, man. Oh, you haven't even heard of this?
No, I'm in the dark about Carrie Lake.
Oh, well, let me play the... it's Carrie Lake. Let me see. It's what is it called? It's called 81 million votes my ass. Here, hold on a second. This is number one on all the charts.
Great title.
It's kind of catchy. And there's a video to go with it, Ooh, what an
If you would have told me 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that I would be in the middle of a political movement, I would have said, put down Hunter's crack pipe. Right now. Right now.
I can't afford the groceries. I can't afford your gas. It's Bidenflation across the nation. 81 million votes my ass.
So that's number one everywhere. iTunes, Spotify. Everyone's loving the 81 million votes my ass. And she is just out of control. She is on Piers Morgan.
I want to play a clip. This is from you, I believe, on Friday, talking about what may happen.
If you want to get to President Trump, you're going to have to go through me, and you're going to have to go through 75 million Americans just like me. And I'm going to tell you, most of us are card-carrying members of the NRA. That's not a threat. That's a public service announcement. We will not let you lay a finger on President Trump. Frankly, now is the time. Frankly, now is the time to cling to our guns and our religion.
That's pretty incendiary stuff, Carrie, to suggest that you've all got your guns and you're going to use them to defend Donald Trump.
That's not what I said. I am using my freedom of speech to say that we support President Trump. Millions, hundreds of millions of Americans do. You guys will always defend Antifa.
Can you please stop saying you guys? What do you mean, you guys? You think I've got anything in common with Don Lemon? Really? Have you watched my show? So stop calling me you, the media.
Oh, there's a lot of things going on in that clip.
A couple of things. Just one clarification. When she says 75 million people, and most of us are card-carrying members of the NRA.
No, that's far from the truth.
The number of NRA members is 4.3 million.
Yeah, it's far from the truth.
It's less than a tenth.
Yeah. But you see what she's doing. So that she must be vying for a running mate status with that. I can't see why. I mean, it's riling. It's not, ultimately, I don't think this is good.
It's an op.
It's just some kind of, well, there was more.
I sure wish they would share what these documents are. They're being very mum about what's in them. I'm really curious about what's in them.
What do you mean? It's Talon Keyhole. It's we know exactly what it is. It's all kinds of good stuff.
I sure wish they would share what these documents are. They're being very mum about what's in them. I'm really curious about what's in them. And Pierce, there's more evidence of wrongdoing and crime, frankly, on Hillary Clinton's servers. There's more evidence of crime in Joe Biden's garage in those boxes where he had no ability to declassify those documents because he was a senator and a vice president. Frankly, there's more evidence of a crime on Monica Lewinsky's dress than in those boxes that were pulled from Mar-a-Lago.
Come on now. She gets a point for that one.
This is a bogus case, and you know what it is? It's really just a way, Pierce, to give cover to Joe Biden, who just this week we found out took another $5 million bribe and payout from the CCP. And we have 17 recordings of him, according to Senator Grassley, on tape being recorded taking bribes and payouts from Ukraine. This is a distraction to give you and the media something to talk about so you don't have to talk about the crimes Joe Biden commits.
Well, and that's the whole conversation. Trump's crooked. You put our people at risk. Biden, we got tape. Hunter's got a crack pipe. It's not helpful.
Well, I think it's great. Now,
you got nothing to lose.
We have a couple of things to note.
Yeah,
they are taking some sides on this, and we've already seen Bill Barr. I don't have the clip. I should have had it on the last show.
Yeah, he's
Bill Barr saying that Trump's toast.
Is that from the last show?
It was pre-last show, yeah. Bill Barr was on with the blonde, the pretty blonde Shannon Bream, and she was like, "Oh, what?" And he's going, "Oh no, he's dead. They got him. He's toast."
What would you have titled that clip?
I didn't bring it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you. Oh, okay. Yeah, no. No. If I said
So then Trump comes out and says Bill Barr's a lowlife, and that sets off one of the Fox guys. I can't remember his name offhand, but the guy that always wears the glasses and he looks over the glasses and he talks kind of like this all the time. Very erudite.
The guy at night.
And he's looking over his glasses and he's talking
people
like
are not
this.
watching Fox News anymore. The MSNBC is now beating them in the ratings.
But he got all bent out of shape about him being called a lowlife to something of an extreme, I thought. So I was kind of concerned about that. And then we had
Trump should have said
Nikki Haley saying that he's toast, so she's done. And then we had Pence come out saying he's toast.
But hold on. This is, let's just look at the sides. Nikki Haley, who was ambassador to the United Nations, she's got to be CIA. You just have to, Barr, come on, CIA. And let's not forget his dad, who, got Epstein started. Hello. I think we're back to the IA wars. I really do. It feels like it. So, but what is going to happen? I mean, what is going to happen?
Well, here's the one that the latest guy who jumped into the fray. Mm-hmm. Can I have a clip?
Yep.
Bolton.
Oh, the fart sniffer. Okay, all right. Bolton. Now he's running, isn't he? Didn't he announce he's running?
I don't know that he is. I know that Pompeo, who also jumped on Trump,
CIA,
who is CIA. You think?
Mm-hmm.
So Pompeo jumped on the anti-Trump bandwagon, but Bolton, I think, is the best. And Bolton expresses, they all say pretty much what Bolton says in this clip.
Republican responses to former President Trump's indictment fall several ways. Trump is denouncing it and saying he's innocent, although photographs show many cartons of documents in his home.
Many cartons?
The indictment says many contain...
That proves he's guilty? Wait, stop.
Yes, guilty. Cartons.
He used the word though.
Yeah, that means you're guilty.
Trump says he's innocent, though. Yeah. As if the cartons themselves proved his guilt.
Well, that's what the indictment showed.
This is the NPR, by the way.
No, PBS.
It says it's PBS, but it's NPR.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains it.
Wait, stop. Let me think. It might be it might be PBS because I'm visualizing.
Wait, you're telling me there's a difference between NPR and PBS? Come on.
What difference does it make?
Republican responses to former President Trump's indictment fall several ways. Trump is denouncing it and saying he's innocent, although photographs show many cartons of documents in his home. The indictment says many contained sensitive military secrets. Several Republican presidential candidates are attacking the federal Justice Department, even though they want to replace Trump as the party leader. Some candidates say the indictment is serious, as do some former members of the Trump administration. Former Attorney General William Barr told Fox the indictment is strong, and we have reached John Bolton, the president's one-time national security advisor. Ambassador, welcome back.
Glad to be with you.
You've handled a lot of classified documents in your time. What do you see in this indictment?
I see big trouble for Donald Trump. I think this is a potentially catastrophic turn of events for him. It certainly should be.
Yeah, trouble. Can you imagine if Bolton was president? What a fab president that guy would be. Hello, America.
He says it should be, so he's already taken sides.
Well, that guy's, again.
He hated... Why did Trump ever... This is the problem we've had with Trump since the beginning.
Yeah, he hires the wrong people. He's bad.
He hires idiots or shitheads like this guy.
Yeah, he's good. He's quick to fire, but then the damage is already done. Clip 2?
So is there more to this clip?
No, but there's 2 more clips.
Oh, that's what it is, part 2.
Because if proven at trial, and of course that is the government's burden, but if proven at trial, it should put Trump in jail for a long time. There's thousands, tens of thousands of people in the federal government who have security classifications, and when they deviate even the slightest amount and it's found out, they face severe penalties. If they're service members, they're discharged from the service. We have to hold everybody accountable equally, and that does not exclude the president. So I think this is a real issue that's going to have profound impact on our national security if we don't take it seriously.
We should emphasize we've seen the photographs, and the former president himself has not denied having the documents, so the question really, if any, is whether he, as a former president, had a right to them. Of the various arguments that Trump has advanced, can you imagine any that would work in which a former president has some special latitude here?
Well, if Trump had followed standard procedures, if anybody could have trusted him with the documents, if he wanted to write a book about his time as president, there were procedures that could have been set up. He disregarded all of those, which is how the National Archives eventually took this case to the Justice Department. But it's the obstruction, it's the refusal to give back the documents when they were demanded by subpoena and through extensive discussions about what was required. That's what tips this over the edge beyond any doubt. And I think anybody who tries to say that somehow this isn't serious, this is a storage issue, are probably people who have never handled a classified document in their lives, don't understand what's at stake here. And it really is a national security issue. And Trump has displayed utter disdain for these constraints. He did so. I saw it over and over again when he was president. The conduct that's alleged by the indictment is entirely believable to me.
Well, this is all hyperbole. So what he's saying, oh, it wasn't just that he had the documents, but that he wouldn't give them back, as if it's the only copy, first of all, please.
Yeah.
It's not like this copy's everywhere of this stuff. Now, I just want, is it your understanding that he leaked this information and told people who did not have appropriate clearance?
Supposedly, when they did their sweep of everybody they could find,
yeah,
he told a fellow golfer.
Okay. That's where the joke comes from.
Yeah.
Even though we've known since 2001 that the plan is to arrest Clark, arrest General Wesley Clark. He spilled the beans that we're going to invade Iran. He said it publicly. He had that classified information.
Good point.
I mean, isn't that the same thing? I don't know about talent.
I think it's the same thing. Now, there's another element here which Trump kind of brings in. They don't like to discuss it. Trump has as president, and Bolton kind of brought up here, well, if he'd gone through channels, if Trump had done this, that, and the other thing, he could have taken these documents home for his book. But what Trump says is, hey, they work for me. I was the president.
Yeah.
Why do I have to take orders from someone that works for me? They're my underlings. I'm supposed to give them orders. And Bolton has it just the other way around, which I believe, because Bolton was a member of the administrative state.
Yes.
And having worked for it myself, I will admit.
You were a spook?
Not as a spook. I've never been a spook, and that's why this show's so good. Because I'm not covered by any confidentiality of anything. Neither are you.
Nope.
And so we can analyze all we want.
In fact, we know that my family has actually kicked me out of the room because they didn't have clearance.
That's right. This has happened to you.
We can't talk about this.
You can't hear this because you've never been read into anything.
Nope.
I haven't been read in, but we know enough that we can analyze without having to violate anything, which makes it safe. The point is that the administrative state really thinks they run the show.
Well, they do.
I guess they do.
They do.
And they're proving it.
Obviously, yes. And, except for this judge, Trump might get locked up.
Oh, man, they don't like this judge.
No one likes
they're going after her. Oh, well, she's the one who if you remember, she's the one who came up with the special master.
I don't remember.
Yeah, when they did the raid, in Mar-a-Lago, there was a brouhaha over it, and she was brought in, and she said you have to go over these documents, because they were just throwing boxes on the floor and everything else you could see.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a special master. Remember the special master?
Yeah, it kind of rings a bell.
Yeah, so she demanded a special master, and then the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals said, no, you're an idiot. And they kicked it back. And so now everyone's citing this as she's an idiot because the 11th Court refused. And so she's under scrutiny. But there's two things that they had. There's two holes I can see that if she had any balls, she'd do this. One was the original search warrant was very dubious.
Yeah. Okay. This is all
and the second one,
it's all technical stuff. It's all technical stuff.
The second one is having one of Trump's attorney violate the attorney-client privilege because the judge said he could. This has got to be thrown out.
Yeah.
And if that gets thrown out, the whole case goes.
But, we have... Look, the only thing that's kind of good is Trump has money, I think, if he still has some. Because
he's got plenty.
Because he can fight this. I mean, it's like, I've had IRS stuff in the past, and they say, well, you can't deduct that. And, and I clearly could. But the bottom line is, if I wanted to go fight it, I need $100,000 to take it to court.
Yeah, so you can save 10.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is the problem.
Well, you win.
Yeah, yes. So that's kind of the problem. And I don't know. I mean, it's not working out well for anybody. The system is so deeply corrupt. So just everything is broken. And, and I just don't see Kari Lake as being helpful.
I love it. So yeah, the system's corrupt, and it's always everything. We always have to remember that the first thing you learn in poli-science class at college is that the president sets the standard for ethics in the country.
Yeah,
and that's why blowjobs became so important after Bill Clinton. And they're not sex. Don't forget that, girls.
Nope.
And Biden's a corrupt president. He's just obviously corrupt, and it's being reflected everywhere.
You're so right. Do we have a third Bolton clip here?
Yeah.
Again, the government has to prove it, and I hope they do it soon. I think one real issue here is how quickly this goes to trial.
Oh.
Donald Trump says he's completely innocent. Well, if he's completely innocent, he should want this stain on his reputation removed as soon as possible. An innocent person would say, I want a trial in a couple of months. Let's see what Donald Trump does.
And, of course, if it goes beyond a couple of months, we're in the presidential primary season. Why, given what you've said, Ambassador, why do you think that Ron DeSantis, one of Trump's rivals for the nomination, is attacking the Justice Department over this indictment?
Well, I think it's a mistake. I think actually DeSantis the other day made a very important point, which was when he was in the Navy Judge Advocate General's Corps handling classified information. If he had done a portion of what Trump is alleged to have done, he would have been court-martialed. That's the standard to make. And I think for Republicans, take it for granted that there's a double standard. Take it for granted Democrats don't prosecute Democrats. Believe all that Hillary should have been prosecuted, Joe Biden should be prosecuted, and they weren't, and that's an injustice. Accept that for the sake of argument, and then ask these candidates the question, does that mean you give Donald Trump a free pass? Is your answer to the double standard problem to have no standard at all? Republicans used to believe that if you didn't prosecute criminals, you'd have more crime. And I think that insight was right then, and it's right now.
No. President Bolton, thank you. President-elect Bolton, we're so pleased to have you. Well, let's just talk about the system then, because the system is weaponizing everything, in particular children. Did you see the Chonies? Did you see you're a theater maven? Did you see the Chonies? The Chonies on Sunday?
Yeah, and I do have one commentary.
Yes, about the Chonies.
No, it was the worst, probably one of the worst. I didn't get the clip of the woman going off.
I got one clip.
Okay,
I got the clip.
I'll play that clip and then I'll tell you what I think.
This is Denise Benton, actress Denise Benton, and it's like
couldn't keep her mouth shut.
It's like, it doesn't matter if it's Trump or DeSantis or DeSantos. They're all racists.
Hi, I'm Denise Benton, actor, thank you, and proud CMU alum. Earlier tonight, CMU and the Tony Awards presented the 2023 Excellence in Theater Education Award. And while I am certain that the current governor of my home state of Florida will be changing.
Now the whole crowd goes wild. They're on their feet. They're pumping their fists in the air. Yeah, he's a racist. A racist, I tell you, a racist. I mean, it was really disappointing as a fan of the theater.
Well, a couple of things should be noted. One is the numbers, the box office numbers are way down.
Yeah.
And these awards didn't help any. Now, the best play, I want to read this. This is an example. Both the best play and the best musical have lost money. But the best play was, I guess, a complete turkey. But it wins. And it's called Kimberly Akimbo is the name of the play. Mm-hmm. Now, I just want to read from the wiki page what this play is about. This is a play written, and I want to say, do you think they're packing them in to go see this particular play? It's a play written in 2000 by David Lindsay Abaire. Mm-hmm. Its title character is a lonely teenage girl suffering from a disease similar to progeria that causes her to age 4.5 times as fast as normal, thus trapping her inside the frail physical body of an elderly woman. She meets another misfit, a college or a teenage boy, and the two form an attachment to one another that borders on attraction. But their situation is not helped by Kimberly's rapidly deteriorating health. Soon, Kimberly's family gets mixed up in some crazy money schemes, and the family is emotionally destroyed.
Oh man,
who wants to see this?
It doesn't say, just doesn't say cabaret.
That is just not something you're going to go watch. And they're celebrating this. They have gone off the rails. They've lost the plot.
They're celebrating ageism. Sounds like I'm not quite sure.
Well, that I don't even know what the point of it is. But why would that get best? There's nothing. Broadway is dead on its feet right now because the talent is gone.
Where did the talent go?
I mean, the musical which was done by Tom Stoppard, his last piece probably, is probably acceptable. But the rest of it is just with this, and the arrogance of these people. They go up there and just accuse everyone who doesn't like them
of being a Ku Klux Klan. And renaming the town in Florida to Plantation, Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, and for a black woman to do this, it's this messed up. I mean, it's one thing for De Niro to go up there. Yeah, it was De Niro, like, I hate Trump, but I'll sock him in the face. Okay, tough guy, great. But this is just there's not even any evidence of racism. Oh my God, I hear it everywhere. Oh, Florida, most racist state. When did this happen? There's more black Americans.
When the NAACP
said
it's a dangerous place to go, despite the fact that the head of the NAACP lives in Florida.
Yeah. So it's just everything being weaponized. Race. I'm surprised they're still pulling race in. I mean, why didn't they just do? Why did they just say Ronnie's hates gays? I mean, that's what they should do. That's the trip now. He hates children. So
they need their gender affirming care. By the way, do you know that little kids who are claiming to be non-binary is now up 4,000% in New Jersey?
It's everywhere. I heard. I got a note from one of our producers. He's a doctor, and he's a dentist, and we were talking about my teeth or whatever, and going back and forth. He says, I use the term kiddo because I have at least 40 patients. Children who are non-binary or transgender. Kids, 40. He says, doesn't seem like a lot out of 1,000 patients. I said, yes, it does.
It seems like a lot to me.
Yeah, this is unheard of. Anyway, so there's an attack going on, and it's the system. Okay, it's not. The people get wrapped up. We know lots of people who are on the LGBT kids train. They're not bad people. They're sucked into the system and they're brainwashed, and they take authority as the authority. Oh, well, the guy with the lab coat says it. Oh, something association, some with pediatrics in the name says it. They were right about COVID. So
they?
Well, that's what they think.
hilarious.
We still have people wearing masks alone in their car, driving around, and you saw it in Austin again. Yeah, it's baffling.
Yeah, they're in their car. Today, 3 years after the fact, they're still driving around with a mask in their car by themselves.
So this stuff has been going on for a long time, and I'm going to show. I have a couple of clips here that I want to play. The first one is the pronouns nonsense, which is just nonsense. And again,
can I play a couple of talk clips before you get to those?
Talk. TikTok.
Wow. Of course.
Man, are we quick.
Talk is up.
Well, let's start with, I do have a pronoun clip. But first, let's listen from Blossom, who to tell us off about everything because we're all screwed up.
Blossom does Jeopardy now, so she's allowed to do
Well, this is a different Blossom.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Female are not genders. If you don't know who I am, my name's Blossom. I use they, them pronouns in English, en español, y en français. And while anybody can self-identify their gender, so if they want to use that language for their gender, they can. Male and female, as well as intersex, are terms that are most typically associated with sex, not with gender. When we're talking about gender, we're talking about woman, man, and all of the identities that fall within being non-binary, androgen, femme of center, mask of center, agender, gender fluid, and there are so many more. So, if you are in charge of a form that says gender, and then it says male and female, first of all, you're erasing intersex people. Second of all, those are not terms associated with gender. They are terms associated with sex.
And I'll tell you, if Blossom was on the Tony Awards, I would have watched that show. I'd go see Blossom on stage. That sounds like a hoot.
And then we have the pronoun person that is using the pronouns fey and pup.
Fey is one of my neopronouns. So I use they, fey, and pup pronouns currently. And fey for me is because I am a fairy. I am fairy gender. And fey is really just validating for that part of my identity. So yeah, fey pronouns because I'm fairy. Hope it up.
Yeah, that's a bad clip.
And that clip was not as good. But the Blossom clip was good. But then the last one is actually Michelle and the transsexual.
This is Dwayne Wade's son.
Who's a girl now.
Well, that's been going on for a while. Mo and I did quite a piece on this. It's always
what do you know about it?
Well, it was all part of his wife is really the one who pushed this kid into it, and she is an actress. If I'm recalling correctly,
she's a former. I don't know if she acts anymore.
Yeah, on that show. What show was it? Not Glee. It's the one of those non-binary type shows, and just really kind of. What Mo says is, this was part of the PSYOP on Black Americans. And this clip, of course, I interpreted this perhaps differently than some people, but she now, what's the kid's name?
I don't know.
Is talking to Michelle Obama. I'm not even sure what the circumstance is, but it's over Zoom. And it's an odd exchange. Right there.
Well, what's on your mind? What do you want to know? What do you want to talk about?
Yes, I actually do want to talk to you about. I wanted to ask you one question about your book, which, by the way, I have read and I love it. Divine.
Okay. And if my kid would talk like that, I don't care if that's my kid's assigned at birth or not. I'm like, you're not talking like that. Divine.
Which, by the way, I have read and I love it. Divine. And yes, so I wanted to ask you, what advice do you have for teens who want to be themselves and thrive like you have and currently are?
Well, like you have and currently are.
Yeah, nice deflection.
I am just so proud of you, being just an amazing role model and embracing your truth, right? You're already doing this, so maybe this is for some other young people that are listening. But let me just say, it does take time to know what your. But what's on your mind? What do you want to know? What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, see, this was so weird. First of all, this is a very privileged child, no matter what gender, privileged child, very privileged. And Michelle Obama also grew up privileged. She just had no struggle. Her mom worked at a bank. You know, it was not. In fact, Tina worked at the same bank that her mom worked at back in the day in Chicago. So, and I have not. You know what? I have to read the book. I need to read the book, Becoming Michelle Obama, and then I can comment on it. I will. I read Sarah Palin's book, so I should read Michelle Obama's book. But the way I read this, it was a deflection where this kid's going, well, we know, the word on the street is, Michelle, you're trans. So could you please tell me how it was divine, how you wrote about it, how you became yourself? That's my interpretation of what this kid was saying.
That's what the main interpretation is. I don't think yours is off the wall.
No. Big Mike 2024. So let's talk about pronouns for a second, which, and if someone, it upsets the balance between children and parents. It is not a good idea. It is also incorrect grammar most of the time. It is also a lie. And if someone says my pronouns are, my response will be, do not worry. I will not be talking about you to other people. And that's it. Now, I've never had someone tell me their pronouns. It hasn't occurred to me. But I have heard children say this to parents, and it's jarring. But it's been going on for a while, and of course, it's been rammed down everyone's throat in the media, in entertainment. Star Trek Discovery, I don't watch. Season 3, Episode 8.
A distress signal must include an encoded message of some kind.
Adira can write an algorithm that can find and decode it.
How long will that take?
Not more than a few hours. She's pretty fast.
Update me the moment you have something, Commander.
Of course.
They're fast. They, not she. I've never felt like a she or a her, so I would prefer they or them from now on.
Okay.
Now, this is Adira saying this to them's superior, and that's accepted? So that's the kind of, and this is years old. This is 2-3 years ago. So this stuff has been going on. It's been promoted, and it is part of an absolute system to upset the world, certainly the United States, although things seem to be cranking up a bit in other countries, oddly enough.
They're trying.
Yeah, they're succeeding. The Netherlands is becoming a little weird now, unexpectedly. But it's entering into law. California, at the local level, which I think is much more important than the presidential race. So squirrel on who's going to be the president. This is one of your guys up there. What is his name? Senator Scott Wilk, a Republican. I'm sure one of the few in the California State Senate.
I'm now in year 11 in the state legislature, and all the time we're proposing policies to protect children. After 11 years, I've come to a conclusion that we need to start protecting parents. That's just not happening. I've been here and witnessed a full frontal assault on charter schools, taking away parents' choice and how their children are going to be educated, to the detriment particularly of children of color. In recent years, we have put government bureaucrats between parents, children, and doctors when it comes to medical care. And now we have this, where if a parent does not support the ideology of the government, they're going to be taken away from the home. Now, I agree with both Senator Wiener and Senator Laird that today it only involves divorce proceedings. And frankly, a judge can already factor this in. But I can assure you it's not going to end with divorce proceedings. In the past, when we've had these discussions and I've seen parental rights atrophied, I've encouraged people to keep fighting. I've changed my mind on that. If you love your children, you need to flee California. You need to flee. We are moving towards the pathway of the Handmaid's Tale. California is becoming the new Gilead, and it just breaks my heart. I'm born and raised in this state. I love this state. I'm not going to stay in this state because it's just too oppressive, and I believe in freedom, and so I'm going to move to America when I leave the legislature.
So what is going on here is if you don't listen to your child when they say my pronouns are, your child can be taken away from you by Child Protective Services, apparently, or that in the case of a divorce. But that's just a start. This is not okay.
No, this is the stuff that's promoted by Scott Wiener. He mentioned him in there.
Yeah.
He's a radical left winger from San Francisco, a gay advocate, and he's totally on the side of the trans. He's not you'd think he wouldn't be, but he doesn't get it. And this is going on.
Because it's political. He doesn't care. It's the thing you're supposed to
it's
say.
Totally political.
It used to be Black Lives Matter. Where did that go? Black people all taken care of. It's all good, everybody. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives, which, as we know, was run by trained Marxists. So I'm going to get into the Marxists. Admitted. Yeah, it's not a secret.
Not a secret.
No, they were proud of it. But, they blew up, as often happens. They
got money.
They got money.
Marxists with money never works.
Yeah, it never works out well. But we have a passing of the torch. And the United States is a firm target once again.
Now, it may not be quite as dramatic as the TV show Succession, but George Soros has made a decision to hand over his $25 billion empire to his 37-year-old son, Alex, despite saying in the past he didn't want one of his 5 kids to succeed him. When asked about his U-turn, the 92-year-old philanthropist said his son had earned it. Alex Soros has said he is more political than his father and plans to continue helping left-leaning causes. But at the same time, he said, our side has to be better about being more patriotic and inclusive. Just because someone votes Trump doesn't mean they're lost or racist.
This is interesting. So he's trying to bring everybody in under the same tent. And what will he do that with? He'll do it under the 2 issues that people are most afraid of being on the wrong side of because of just how it's been culturally changed.
Yeah, so Alex Soros has obviously been involved, at least recently. What more do we know about him?
Well, he's got a PhD in history. He's 37, so still pretty young. And he has said by his own admission that he has broadly the same political views as his father, but that he is more political. And, for example, that he's going to actively campaign against Donald Trump's attempt to run as a second term for the US president. He says, for example, that he shares a lot of the same ideas around democracy that his dad does. That includes, for example, a commitment to try and pursue freedom of speech, criminal justice reform, as well as minority and refugee rights. But he says, for example, that his focus is perhaps going to be more US focused. And of course, his dad was born in Hungary and lived under the Nazi occupation. And indeed, Open Society Foundations was headquartered initially in Budapest and then later in Berlin. Whereas it sounds like Alex is going to be more focused on US domestic politics. He says, for example, that he's going to put emphasis on voting rights, abortion, as well as initiatives when it comes to gender equality.
There we go. Yeah, and with gender equality, we know what that means.
Yeah. Means sterilization of the youth of America.
So, we've played James Lindsay before, and if you ever get James Lindsay, you really have to listen to his speeches, and we've played bits of it in the past, and it's always quite good. But how does it really get into our schools, into our education system? This is where our eye was off the ball. This has been going on for 30 years. It's so deeply ingrained. And the Tinfoil Hat podcast, of course, a podcast. A guy named that's what's his face? It's Sam Tripoli. It's a pretty good podcast. So he had Jordan Henry on, a parent, activist parent, and he brings in a new name, Paulo Freire, and how this thinking has been introduced and continues to propagate throughout the entire educational system, regardless of what subject it is.
And these professors had us read this guy named Paulo Freire, a Brazilian Marxist from Recife, Brazil.
You know Paulo Freire?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's the guy.
He's the guy.
He is the nexus.
You know the guy.
Yeah. Well, I've never met him, no.
No, but what do you know about the guy? Just give us your quick background.
He is a Marxist. He's a theoretical Marxist. He's out of Brazil, and he has He came up with the entire scheme to corrupt the education system to promote Maoism.
Well,
as we would have it, as we would define it.
Trans-Maoism as we define it.
He is the guy. He's the guy. He's the go-to guy.
Well,
it all traces back to him.
Well, and he's still alive, this guy?
I don't know.
We need to bring him to account.
Indian Marxist from Recife, Brazil. This guy basically changed education. This is educational theory that I had to read, okay? Educational Marxist theory that I had to read for landscape architecture school. My professors are like, oh, yeah, you need to develop a critical consciousness for landscape architecture. I'm like, for trees? For plants? And they're like, yeah, you do. And I pushed back and I was like, okay, this book, Paulo Freire, it's a book called Pedagogy of the Oppressed. This book is the most influential book in education. Every educator that you know, every teacher that you know who's been to school since 1990 for sure has read Paulo Freire. And if they go get like an advanced degree, like a master's or a doctorate, bro, they have to buy into the ideology. They have to go in deep. He quotes Che, he quotes Mao, he quotes Lenin, he quotes Lukács, Marx, Hegel, all of the big Marxist philosophers who were activists.
So, just hearing this, and I think of our, the Austin liberal school teacher, she was brought up on this as well. Even though underneath she's Jewish, so she has some things that tell her this is wrong. Underneath, bubbling under, but she's been,
most Jews are all in on this.
She's very much all in on it.
They call it liberation theology, so it's Marxist Catholicism,
right? Yeah, that's the term.
Liberation theology, yes, liberation theology.
They call it liberation theology, so it's Marxist Catholicism, and they funded him to go to the World Council of Churches in Geneva, Switzerland, and long story short, he got picked up by these academics in Harvard, and they flew. He was the toast of the elites in America and in Europe, funded by the Rockefellers, funded by the UN as an official diplomat or some nonsense. And then they pushed his book over and over and over again. And then they pushed all these Marxist ideologues who are basically, you call them, they're Freirean. Freire. That's how you spell Freire for anybody listening. And it's a cult. It's a straight up Marxist Catholic liberation theology cult that the Rockefellers funded to overtake American education.
And when he says this, I'm like, oh, so this is why we have new Catholics in China. We got all new Catholics.
If you go back through Obama.
Yeah.
You remember he went to a church that had a black liberation theologist. It's the same stuff.
Was that his pastor?
Yeah, remember that guy?
Yeah.
Even though Obama's kind of an atheist and probably never went to church, but the Republicans tried to associate him with this guy, and it was a big deal. Oh, he's a bad guy. He's a communist.
Again? Yeah, what was his name? Oh, come on, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
And this is I'm glad you got this clip. It's a good, concise clip.
Jeremiah Wright.
Yeah, Jeremiah Wright. Black liberation theology. Same thing. You just take the word black and replace it with design, or to replace it with gender, or you replace it with whatever.
Next clip.
The whole point of his book in education is that, he wants to get rid of all distinction between, the teacher and the student. Like there's no hierarchy whatsoever. You're not going to learn from the teacher. The student actually teaches the teacher.
Yeah, like the child teaches the parent.
And it's more like they're equivalent, and there's no power whatsoever. So that's why you see all this like chaos in schools right now. Is because These educators got brainwashed into thinking that the students run the show. Woke is Paulo Freire. Woke is critical consciousness. It is that. That is where this shit came from. It's Maoist. It's Maoist thought reform. Okay? And that was his whole mission, was to basically insert Maoist thought reform in the West. And damn, he was successful.
Yes. And I have...
This is, by the way...
Yeah.
Your earlier clip of the guy in California...
Yeah.
it reflects this.
Same thing, yes.
The idea that, well, you take the kid away from the parents if you don't listen to the kid, because the kid's the boss. This is the same thing that happens in family structures where the daughter says, no, them.
Yep.
It's them.
Yes.
It's
exactly.
them, Dad.
Yep.
Them. It's she. No, it's a she, Dad.
Yep. That's
so
upsetting
it's all
the balance.
part of it. It's fair. Yeah, it's all Maoist. It's great.
I have one more clip from him. What was I going to say? So there was an example that James Lindsay gave. Different. I don't have a clip, but I can paraphrase it. The way this is brought into the classroom is, let's say you're in math class, where it's a math lesson, and you say, okay, Pete and his family are driving to the amusement park. It's 50 miles from their home to the amusement park. They've driven 30 miles. The math question will be, how many more miles do they have to go? But first, who here has been to an amusement park? So there's going to be at least one or two who have not been to an amusement park. And then the conversation goes, oh, well, why not? Is it fair that some kids can't go to an amusement park? And then all of a sudden you're talking about economics and class and you're no longer talking about math.
You're talking about equity.
Equity. Of course you're talking about equity ultimately. That's how it's being taught. And the more I think about the Austin school teacher, the more I now recognize, even though internally she hated it, she hates her job. She would say, I hate my job, but I can't leave because I will not get my pension. I'm now in my 50s. I'm screwed. And she has all these rules. When I say, I want you to talk to the kids about this. Well, that's not in the Texas State. They have all this rule books of what you can talk about, and it's all codified. It's all encoded in there. It started with No Child Left Behind. The Republicans, Bush did this. He started that. Then we had ESSA. And then, of course, we had Common Core. And now we have SEL, Social Emotional Learning. And the way they did it is with ESSA and Common Core, the teachers now had to do all this extra work and document how the child is doing, not just academically. Is the child adapting? Do they fit in with the class? Do they have empathy? And then with SEL, the social emotional learning, that's where we talked about this. That's where this Castle organization pops up, and they say, oh, we've got the whole system that does it all for you. You don't have to do all this work. We'll just do it all for you. And so now we have the whole system is all set up. And I know parents who have their kids in Christian schools in Austin. And I said, do they have any SEL? Yeah, there's some SEL. Red flag. Red flag. It's everywhere. Here's the last clip of this Jordan Henry guy.
Their policies from the top down are designed to destabilize children, to take away their identity, to make sure that they do not have one. And that's critical consciousness, right? Because they want to have this mindset for children from a very early age, where they're not really teaching them like what to think or even like how to think, but which questions to ask and in which ways. Why did critical race theory? Why did cultural Marxism get pushed in the institutions? Why does UCLA have a critical race theory law department now funded by our tax dollars? Why? It's because the government wants to keep us separated. They don't want us to unite. These institutions, higher ed, these elite institutions, they're specifically designed to brainwash people and to keep them siloed. There's this academic paper. It's by this like woke academic, like gender specialist, whatever, gender theory woman. Her name's Hannah Dyer, Dyer. Listen to this title of this academic journal article. It's called Queer Futurity and Childhood Innocence Beyond the Injury of Development. That's the title, bro. All right. And then like one of her quotes is, it's better to understand queerness as that which is destructive to the social order and in contradiction to reproductive futurity. Literally, queerness is attacking social order and the ability for children to eventually reproduce.
And this is important. Everyone's focused on the T, but the Q's in there for a reason. That's the one we got to be careful of, because it won't come down to your gender or assigned at birth. No. Just queer, just no children. Just ruin everything. Stop your family.
No families.
No family.
That's a long-term goal.
The family will be created in a lab. That is, unfortunately, these people are crazy. So part of cultural Marxism, and I remember saying this early on in the show, and we would kind of laugh about it. So, it's cultural Marxism, and you would chuckle.
I chuckle.
Yeah, you chuckle because you knew. But I was too young, and I wasn't schooled enough to understand. But I was just yelling at everybody else. It's cultural Marxism. But it was, and it is. So when you change words, even if it's as simple as the definition of a vaccine or the definition of man and woman, which is John Hopkins. Now, John Hopkins is an authority. It is seen as an authority. We had John Hopkins putting up the death count of COVID, regardless of what you died of. That was on the screen for 2 years in a row. Death count. So it's an authority. And now they have redefined what lesbian and gay is. And this, it's stirring up a little bit of consternation, but not really. And I think we should read it just so we all understand. So they have
a non-woman thing?
Yes.
Yeah, this is worth reading and discussing.
The university's Gender and Sexuality Resources Office has a glossary of LGBTQ identities and terms, and includes...
Well, wait, can I stop you one more time?
Yeah, sure.
We have to remember Johns Hopkins is a front for the CIA.
And we know this how?
USAID runs out of there. Spook operations run out of there. It's just, believe me, we've talked about this before. It's a spook operation. At this point, it's a real school. You can go there and get a degree.
Yeah.
But it is a front. There's no doubt about it.
Okay. Again, another school I did not attend. So the Gender and Sexuality Resources Office contains a glossary of LGBTQ identities and terms. It includes the definition for the term lesbian. And this is how it reads. Maybe I should do gay man first. Let's do gay man first. A man who is emotionally, romantically, sexually, affectionately, or relationally attracted to other men. I guess you can't just have a bro. Or who identifies as a member of the gay community. So if you identify, you're gay. At times, gay is used to refer to all people, regardless of gender, who have their primary sexual and or romantic attractions to people of the same gender. Gay is an adjective, not a noun, as in, he is a gay man. A lesbian is a non-man attracted to non-men. While past definitions refer to lesbian as a woman who is emotionally, romantically, and or sexually attracted to other women, this updated definition includes non-binary people who may also identify with the label. Discuss.
Well, of course, the big controversy is why don't they make the gay men, attracted to non-women?
Yes.
They don't do that. It's a very strange, again, fucking with the language to an extreme.
Whoa, F-bomb from Dvorak. Whew.
Well, it's the only way you can put it.
Yeah.
With some goal in mind. I mean, this is all an op. And it comes from Johns Hopkins with their map of the deaths.
Yeah.
Deaths.
Des.
Yes,
the
the map of the death. I mean, again, it's an op of some sort. I don't know exactly what they're trying to accomplish here, but it did get some attention.
Well, there's so many people who benefit. So we know how big pharma, the medical industry benefits because it's money, money, money. But the politics of it, it's just the new black. But this is always the underlying idea has always been this Ferrarian. Is that how we say it? Ferrarian? Is that?
I guess
something like that. Is this Ferrarian Maoist, we'll just call it trans-Maoist methodology to capture the entire country or the world. Yeah. The world. Well,
good luck.
Yeah, but it's working pretty well.
You know what? It's working not in China. Here's the irony of this Maoist thing is cracks me up.
Okay.
The Maoists who had the girls dress in pants and act like boys, and they had the kids go turn on their parents with the Cultural Revolution, the whole thing.
Yep.
That was the great extreme aspect of the Maoist thing. Currently,
I was alive when this happened. In my lifetime, this happened.
Yeah,
in
with
China.
the little red book.
Yeah, it happened. And we still have red books on this very show.
Well, he's not little. So we were both alive, and the little red book, they'd run down the street shaking the book.
Yep.
And those books are around. I mean, I think I still have one.
What is the equivalent of the little red book today?
Oh, I'd have to think about that. There has to be one.
Well, the pride flag, maybe.
Maybe the progressive pride flag.
Yes, the new one. Yes, the new progressive. Yeah. And by the way, it is inappropriate for anyone of any gender, of any man, non-man, woman, non-woman, whatever, to bare your chest on the White House lawn. I don't care who you are. It's not appropriate.
Well, she's been banned. Anyway.
Yeah, but there were dudes doing that too.
So the point is so they set this up. They're the ones that created the revolution. Became a communist, actually I'd say some new sort of communist state, dictatorship, authoritarian for sure. And they've since then, if you remember, I think it was about a year ago, they banned flighty boys, guys who talk with... They had all these bans, so now everything that would be considered a little gay is illegal in China, which is like the reverse of where they were headed.
Not that I think China is behind this.
This does not lead to good news for the community.
No. And keep your eye on the queue. That's what I would say. Keep your eye on the queue. So how does this... Again, how does this happen? We've had with my child, my girls, they've all at one point been diagnosed with something, and autism. I think my daughter still believes that she has a proper functional autistic diagnosis, and now she, like all of them at one point have been prescribed some kind of medication. They all themselves got off of it. I don't feel good on this. This is no good. Thank God. But, I think there still might be some Vyvanse roaming around, some meth. Sir Tenley Stone, one of our knights. I'm 43. I was diagnosed 1 year ago as being autistic. For insight and shared experience.
Wait, how old is he?
43.
So at the age of 42.
Yes. For insight and shared experiences, I look to social media for other adults like myself who live decades undiagnosed and just trying to understand why everything is so hard to understand. I would be identified as high functioning or having Asperger's. Both of these terms are frowned upon by the woke autistics. This leads me to the point of this email. Autistic transgenders. Once I started poking around social media for autistic adults, I noticed right away that a large number of people, early 30s or younger, who are autistic, identified as queer, they, them, trans. I thought about this for a while, and it makes a lot of sense. When I was in elementary school, a trusted adult, teacher, or therapist could probably have convinced me the reason I was so confused is because I was in the wrong gender. To add this to this autistic, people are always mimicking those around them in their struggle to read and adapt to social cues, so you get a monkey see, monkey do chain reaction on top of it. Yes, social media is it's a perfect setup, and it's all being pushed, it's all being allowed, and it doesn't end well. And now we have
no. This is not going to end well. We have to make this. We have to take that as a given.
And the main thing, though, that I would plea for is we have to stop and change the system and not just yell at each other, because that's the not going to end well part. Everybody's broken in this.
There's no chance of that.
Unfortunately, history says, agrees with you. Now, I'm going to, just before we take our first break, and by the way, we have a special guest in today's donation segment and the secret numbers. I think this is the last. You get these numbers, you get money. This is the big one. It's the big win. This, and we'll talk about this after our break as well. This flows into transhumanism, because if you're not going to create new humans, that's the ultimate goal of being Q, or the lead up to that being T. We're going to create all that. We're going to have, we have to bring in something else, and a lot of transgenderism flows into transhumanism, and this is where we get into big tech. And if I ever saw the ladies of Fredericksburg spin up over something, it is over the latest interview of Yuval Noah Harari. And so, there's text message groups like, oh, this guy, and he's a World Economic Forum advisor. And this guy is the worst. We've played clips of him before. You know who I'm talking about, right? No. This is Harari is the guy who wrote the book that everyone's, it was, probably if I hear him, I'll oh yeah, he's Israeli. Have I ever delivered clips of this guy? We have played clips. I don't know if you've delivered clips. His main book was, his original bestseller, 'Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind. Then he did A Brief History of Tomorrow, Lessons for the 21st Century. He is, of course, a World Economic Forum favorite. He's the guru. Oh, yes, he's so smart. He knows exactly where it's all going. He knows everything. Oh, yes. Oh, and he's from Israel. Come on, he knows everything. So, of course, he knows exactly what's going to happen. And we might as well embrace our machine overlords, the AI.
AI is now at the stage of, amoebas. It's like 4 billion years ago, and the first living organisms are crawling out of the organic soup. And so ChatGPT and all these wonders, they are the amoebas of the AI world. What would T-Rex look like? And how long would it take for the AI amoebas to evolve into the T-Rexes? And it won't take billions of years. Maybe it takes just a few decades or a few years, because the evolution of AI is at a completely different time scale than the evolution of organic beings, because AI itself works on a different time scale. AI is always on. And computers in general are always on. Humans and other organisms, they live, they exist, they develop by cycles. We need to rest sometime. Mm-hmm. AI never needs to rest.
Okay. Now, you and I both know this is a big, steaming pile of bullcrap. I mean, even the guys running this say, this stuff's not working. It's not really it's not really what you think it is. Yeah, it can write a little bit. But this guy, he is convincing everybody that I like this. I now remember this guy. Yeah. He's one of these guys, a little bit like a secular version, even though I wouldn't call it secular, of that Indian guru guy who keeps cropping up all the time with the big square glasses, and he's the one who said, responsibility is the ability to have a response. Deepak Chopra. Deepak Chopra. What happened to Deepak Chopra? Yes. Chopra has a way of analyzing and putting together things that are seemingly discrepant and piecing them together in creative ways that are clever, and it kind of makes sense, even though it doesn't really make sense. I mean, responsibility, for example. So this guy is like that, only he's a secular version. He doesn't have any spiritual aspect to it. And so he just comes up with I like the amoeba thing. Well, you could say the same thing about anything. Glassware. Glassware. Yes. What about glassware, Dr. Dvorak? It could be. It's only in this amoeba stage
Wait until glassware becomes the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
Now, the other two things we need to know about AI is that first, it's the first technology ever that can make decisions by itself.
Oh, make decisions by itself. This technology is amazing.
I hear a lot of people saying, oh, all these worries about AI. Every time there is a new technology, people worry about it, and afterward it's okay. Like when people invented writing and printing presses and airplanes, they were so worried, and in the end it was okay, AI will be the same. It's not the same. No previous technology in history could make decisions. You know, even an atom bomb.
Hey!
Yes, hey.
What about the magic 8 ball?
Even an atom bomb actually empowered humans, because an atom bomb can destroy a city, it cannot decide which city to bomb. You always need a human to make the decision. AI is the first technology that can make decisions by itself, even about us. Increasingly, we apply to a bank to get a loan. It's an AI making the decisions about us. So it takes power away from us.
Now, this is interesting because something is going on in the European Union, which we'll talk about in a minute, about the bank making decisions for you. Now, you said non-secular. Oh, no. Our boy Noah Harari has it covered.
The third thing about AI that everybody needs to know, it's the first technology ever that can create new ideas. You know, the printing press, radio, television, they broadcast, they spread the ideas created by the human brain, by the human mind. They cannot create a new idea. You know, Gutenberg printed the Bible in the middle of the 15th century. The printing press printed as many copies of the Bible as Gutenberg instructed it, but it did not create a single new page. It had no ideas of its own about the Bible. Is it good? Is it bad? How to interpret this? How to interpret that? AI can create new ideas, can even write a new Bible. We, you know, throughout history, religions dreamt about having a book written by a superhuman intelligence, by a non-human entity. Every religion claims our book, all the books of the other religions, humans wrote them. But our book, no. It came from some superhuman intelligence. In a few years, there might be religions that are actually correct. That just think about a religion whose holy book is written by an AI. That could be a reality in a few years.
Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh,
this guy's got some chops.
He's good. And then
he's full of shit, but it's like, you know, he's good at it.
Well, but he's predicting what they will try to do. I completely believe that. Oh, yeah, no, our AI wrote a Bible. It is a religion that is correct.
Can you imagine that Bible? Wow, that should be a good one.
It's going to kick ass. And then this is just a kicker clip. The interviewer is such a dope. This is what he says right after that.
You know, when I was preparing this interview, I wrote down questions that I would like to ask you, and then I asked ChatGPT to create 10 questions that it would like to ask you. And I've been doing this for a long time, okay? 25 years I've been doing this, and its questions were better than mine. I'm going to be honest with you. It was absolutely insane, and it took it 5 seconds, 7 seconds to write it out, and I'm still using the first version.
Yeah, this is why we've never heard of you, you dope, because you suck. That's why they were better than your questions. What a dope. So,
well, you just talked yourself out of a job.
Okay, so AI are very dangerous. We're very afraid of AI. The AI. I mean, I have clips and clips and clips today, but I'm not going to. I just want to play these two before we take a break. So, AI. What are we going to do? The world is going to die of AI. It's going to take over. We have to be very careful. The European Union is now in the throes of creating legislation about the fairness of AI and how we're going. Now, this is fairness. This is in the European Parliament. So we know everything the European Parliament does is worthless. They can't even, they can't write laws. They can't pass laws. They're just there to argue about stuff that's rammed down their throat. And you can, I have a yellow card, a red card. So when they are in the European Parliament arguing about something, that means it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And so this is Ella Jakubowska. She's a senior policy advisor for the European Digital Rights Institute, which is an NGO. Now, when I first was listening to her, I'm like, oh, this is some outfit getting funded to, talk about AI. She probably was all in on blockchain 2 weeks ago. But now, what she considers to be AI is interesting. Because we would we would just say this is the stuff that's been infiltrating our life for many, many years. Just algorithms, not AI, but stuff like facial recognition. That is now considered AI. So let's understand that the terminology is it's now an umbrella. AI is an umbrella term for all things that the security state, the biosecurity state, the deep state, call it whatever you want, the system is going to do to us. And she's actually, in my opinion, on the right side of these. We only have 2 clips.
Well, it's really a day of celebration from the perspective of human rights. There are many of us in civil society, in various NGOs, working to protect people from the most harmful uses of technology. And today we've had a huge endorsement from the European Parliament, one of the 3 legislative institutes of the EU.
Again, whenever the European Parliament is saying, we're going to do something, that means they're not going to do it. They're going to lose, and it's going to be rammed down our throats.
Saying that they are willing to draw red lines in the sand against the most unacceptably harmful uses of AI systems. So there are also things that could be improved further, but nevertheless, there's a lot to be very happy about today. Facial recognition and whether or not to ban it has been one of the most controversial topics in the negotiations on this EU AI Act so far. And over the last year and a half, we have seen parliamentarians working really hard to find a compromise between all 7 of the political groups. And that was something they were able to achieve. And what they decided was that all live facial recognition and other biometric profiling needs to be banned without exception in public spaces, and that there also needs to be really strict limits on retrospective uses, as well as many other forms of profiling, tracking, and other systems that are often connected to facial recognition, which have all been linked to really egregious human rights abuses around the world.
So what do you on that point, what do you answer to, say, the French government, which says we need that facial recognition for the Olympics next year to keep visitors safe?
It's very similar to what I said to MEPs in this pushback that we saw from the centre-right that you mentioned, which is that there is absolutely no evidence that the use of these essentially mass surveillance technologies in public spaces do keep us safer. When we hear those claims, they're only ever coming from private companies or from governments without evidence being put forward that we are safer, and in fact a huge amount of evidence to the contrary, that we are all less safe when our behaviours, our faces and our bodies are being surveilled and profiled as we try to move around public spaces.
So I love this because it says 2 things. One, they use the Dvorak method of there is no evidence. Love that. 2, it's happening. You're not going to stop it. You can't even get up.
I have to agree. Yes, absolutely.
You can't even go to an American airport without the TSA now using facial recognition. No one asked me. So it's over. So when these kinds of groups pop up to make you feel good, someone's on my side. No. And it's even more evidence by the second clip. And I know exactly what this case is about because it happened in the Netherlands, and this goes back to Harari. Well, these things will make decisions. No, it's not that they will make decisions. They're already doing it, and the stupid system, the stupid government is all over it. We love it.
Predictive policing refers to a wide range of different techniques, some more low-tech, using even things like spreadsheets, for example, all the way.
Yes.
Predictive policing, so we're talking about the movie
Minority Report?
Yeah.
No, not quite like that. But go back to Harari. He said, the bank won't give you a loan. Predictive policing based upon your profile, based upon who you are. This is we did not discuss this on the show, but this happened a couple of years ago, and it really came to a head in the past year and a half in Holland. It's atrocious what took place, but at least now we can discuss it under the auspices of AI, which this poor woman thinks that they have some kind of win because they had a committee meeting. Like, yeah, we all think it sucks. Okay. Yeah, well, hey, we're doing something for you people. No, you have zero power.
More low-tech, using even things like spreadsheets, for example, all the way through to algorithmic predictions that we might think of more commonly as artificial intelligence, but that are used to try to predict whether somebody might be about to commit a crime or whether they might be likely to recommit a crime, which we call recidivism. And essentially what these systems claim to do is to be able to tell the future. They say that they know, often based on incredibly discriminatory, historically biased information, for example, where people live, who they associate with, the school they went to, all sorts of sensitive data about their lives used to try to say whether or not they are going to commit a crime. And when you think about the fact that the EU has a human right to the presumption of innocence.
But are there specific examples of the police with this predictive policing technology putting people in preventive detention?
Actually, that a lot of governments are experimenting with these kinds of predictive technologies. And I mentioned the Dutch government because that is another one of the red lines that fortunately the European Parliament has taken a strong stance against today. And that's something called social scoring, which has many similarities to predictive policing. Social scoring is a technique that we've seen the Dutch government use to predict whether people were cheating on their benefits, on their welfare provisions. And not only was this based on, again, very discriminatory data, not individual data, but things about where people live, where they come from, proxies for their race, their ethnicity. But it was also completely faulty, as we know these systems are. And in fact, as a result of that Dutch benefit scandal that was known as the Siri case, a lot of people lost their jobs, had their children taken away, died by suicide as a result of the false and slanderous accusations of benefits fraud that had been leveled against them by the use of these social scoring systems.
And this is what happened between 2004 and 2019. Parents were receiving benefits for, like child benefits. 26,000 parents, 70,000 children. And then in 2019, the government ran some algos and they came up with, these 26,000 parents and said, oh no, you owe us 15 years of money. And the way the IRS works in the Netherlands, the Belastingdienst, they came to get it. And the children were taken away from families. Many families lost their homes, lost their businesses. People were committing suicide. It's a scandal of epic proportions, which of course the Dutch are like, well, that's scandalous. What's for dinner? It's like, because, these things just get pushed down. Shut up, COVID. Stay in your room. Stay in your house. This is what they are talking about when it comes to AI. And the fact that this lady is saying, oh, we got to win. We're going to protect you. No. So AI is a very broad concept right now. And in some weird way, by saying, oh, it's coming, I'm not quite sure how it works, but psychologically, it's covering up what's already happened. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it's a after-the-fact smoke screen.
Yeah, there you go.
So you can have, it's the old blame the computer. Oh, the computer made a mistake.
Computer says no.
We're kind of tired of that. The computer can't make a mistake. Computer made a mistake. Well, somebody programmed it to make a mistake. Okay, that's no good. Let's use this as our next excuse. The AI screwed up.
Yep.
Not my fault.
So to wrap it up, Elon Musk even posted something on Twitter saying, Ted Kaczynski, bad dude, did some bad things, but he was kind of right about technology. Well, this would not stand with the liberal intellectual elites of Pivot, the award-winning technology podcast run by what is a lesbian again? Non-man?
Kara?
Non-man? What is the...
non-man.
Non-man, Kara Swisher, and non-man, Professor Scott Galloway. Listen what they had to say, because we're technology podcast, award-winning.
Another piece of news Elon actually weighed in on. The Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, has died in prison of apparent suicide. And Elon tweeted that the domestic terrorist, quote, might not have been wrong about technology being detrimental to society. I think Elon Musk is detrimental to society at this point, but he was found unresponsive at a medical facility in prison where he was serving life sentence. This is someone, just so people are aware of who he is thinking is right. He spent 20 years terrorizing victims with homemade bombs sent through the mail. By the time he was caught, 3 people had died and 24 were injured, some rather severely. So great guy to back. I don't know. Seems like he was a math prodigy. Obviously lost his way rather significantly. You know, if you remember the Unabomber stuff, God, that was seared into my memory at the time.
It's kind of a fascinating character. You know, he went to Harvard when he was 16.
He did. Yep.
And I don't like to talk or reference his manifesto or what he believed because I don't want to bring any attention to it. And I believe a decent proxy.
Because it's evil, because he's never read it, because it's a technology podcast.
Ted Kaczynski's dead.
No, you can't.
So you don't want to read what he had to say?
Nope.
Yep.
And
why?
I don't like to talk or reference his manifesto or what he believed because I don't want to bring any attention to it.
Why?
And I believe a decent proxy.
At this point, what difference does it make?
Yep.
And I don't like to talk or reference his manifesto or what he believed because I don't want to bring any attention to it. And I believe a decent proxy for your success as a person in your life is if you die under bright lights surrounded by strangers, you have failed. If you figure out a way to die at home or, you know, with people who love you.
Does that apply to Park Your Carcass, a famous actor who died on stage?
Yes.
Under bright lights with strangers looking at him?
That's right. You failed.
Under bright lights surrounded by strangers, you have failed. If you figure out a way to die at home or, you know, with people who love you surrounding you, you've won. And I like the fact that this man died alone. And he maimed 24 people.
24, yeah.
Caused terror.
Killed 3 people.
And killed 3 people. I mean, the amount of misery that he caused. So my feeling is it's unimportant what he stood for. I have no desire to examine it or bring any attention to it. This was someone who was a terrorist who died alone and whose life was so awful.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Didn't this same guy just say he was surrounded by strangers?
Yes.
Well, that's not dying alone.
Under bright lights.
Caused terror.
Killed 3 people.
And killed 3 people. I mean, the amount of misery that he caused. So my feeling is it's unimportant what he stood for. I have no desire to examine it or bring any attention to it. This was someone who was a terrorist who died alone and whose life was so awful. He spent all of his time and energy trying to figure out how to kill himself. And so, you know, I hope my guess.
Apparently, he spent all this time trying to figure out how to kill himself. Yeah,
but he won't read his material, but he can read his mind?
Yes.
He spent all of his time and energy trying to figure out how to kill himself. And so, you know, I hope, my guess is I don't believe there is a hell, but my guess is he's sharing a cell with Epstein and other people in hell. So good riddance, and I don't expect nor want to ever speak about him again.
Anyway, it's a tragedy for the people who killed Ted Kaczynski. Burn in hell.
My point is, this is an award-winning technology podcast. They are not interested in the slightest bit in even for their own edification to read what he had to say. And the manifesto, call it a manifesto, titled Industrial Society and Its Future, predicted pretty much to a T the pickle we are in right now.
I should maybe ban these clips because they're so aggravating. Scott Galloway the guy is off the rails. He just says crazy stuff.
They're both non-men, and they should.
They are, both of them.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C's in the facial recognition. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to my friend on the other end, Mr. John C. Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Mr. Andrew Curry. In the morning, all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
In the morning to the trolls in the troll room. Hello, trolls. Let's go. Here they
show count.
I'm trying. It's so hard to count them. They run all over the place. 1,910. That's good for a Thursday, no?
Yeah, it's good by at least one, if not 200.
Yes, good to see you, trolls. Thank you very much for being here with us. No Agenda Stream.
It's because of Trump.
Oh, what are they going to say? What are the boys going to say about Trump? Oh, we didn't disappoint. I think we've given you all the problems in the world today. We've given you some solutions. One of them is read the dead guy's book. You know, what could it hurt? How bad could it be? You might learn something. Trollroom.io. We've had some problems with the troll room system. I'm not sure if it got fixed today. The guys at Kiwi IRC, who've had this system running for free for decades, something went down, and I'm going to make sure I make a donation to them today because I don't think I've ever donated to them. Open source project, and we've been using it as a web interface to our chat room, our troll room. So we appreciate it if they got it back up and running. Thank you. Of course, you can always use one of the modern podcast apps. Ditch all that old stuff. I'm telling you, they're going to start dropping stuff. They're going to start making stuff illegal. Oh, we can't have that on Apple. Oh, that's no good. So if you want to stick with legacy, that's fine. But you might as well import your subscriptions now. Podcastapps.com. There are about 5 of them who also have the new live feature, which includes the Troll Room live stream, and it's where you get your podcasts anyway. So I would suggest you look at that. Also, you can follow us on our open source and wholly owned and run. Well, not owned. Matt owns everything. He runs it, but that's what Value for Value is about. NoAgendaSocial.com. Where you can follow John C. Dvorak at NoAgendaSocial.com, Adam at NoAgendaSocial.com. And people are doing cool projects on No Agenda Social. A lot of people are just shit posting and putting memes out there. But there are people helping each other with jobs, finding, ways to move ahead, trying, working together. Gitmo Nation is a very interesting community, and everybody is welcome. And it's just always heartwarming to see when these types of things happen and people are working together. Of course, there's always arguments and stuff like, hey, you're wrong, you suck, you know, what did you say? You're tagging Adam and John, you virtue signaling. That happens too. But that's just what happens when you get too many people in a room. And we only have 10,000 when we get that. But you can also follow us from any Mastodon account that doesn't block us for free speech. We're on a list. Just one of the many ways what Aroner is doing to help us with time, talent, or treasure. Another way is for our artists to create artwork for the show. We're very pleased that we have a brand new piece of art for every single episode. We've done it for just about every single one, I think, going back to almost to number one. Also, I have to mention the Bingit.io search engine that Sir Deanonymous has put together. I'm loving it so much.
Yeah, you're just gaga.
I am. Like, you can find any clip you want, stuff we've talked about. Just put in the words and boom, you can click on the link and you hear us talking about that topic from a decade ago. Thank him. It's very cool that he's done that. This is what he does for a living, by the way. I didn't know it. He has a company that goes into big companies and sucks in all their data, all their information, and makes stuff findable.
And Adam, what's the name of that company?
I don't know. I really don't know. He doesn't. No, he's doing this for the experience. He just wanted to put his experience to work, because we have all of this information going back to God knows. Well, we lost a lot in the first few years due to trusting a centralized Silicon Valley company that Google bought and then shut it down and threw out all our data. Thanks.
Yeah.
That was a
real world.
A learning moment. Yes, a learning moment. So, and also all the search results, regardless of what episode it is, he also pulls in the artwork for that episode, which is also kind of cool. You can search clips, transcripts, and articles. Yeah, it's
genius.
This is the kind of stuff you want to use for your schoolwork, your paper.
Yeah, if you're a student,
your
high school or college, even
doctorate degree,
you could be pulling down stuff that is so it's going to be obscure. It's going to be like you did a lot more work than you did.
Yeah, it's like for a long time, people have asked me, what's the name of that guy who in the 1800s went to California and wrote a diary. He was part of some geological company and wrote a diary about what a hellscape it was with earthquakes, fire, mudslides back in the 1800s when there was no climate change, no man-made climate change.
It's unlivable.
And William Brewer, and I found it like lickety-split because I just searched for that. I brought up the episode where we talked about it, and I mentioned the guy. Sorry?
Lickety-split.
Lickety-split. I'm telling you, lickety-split. Yes. The artwork for episode 1563, which we titled Pocket Pardon, was brought to us by, I think, a new person who is actually not new to creating art, but maybe the first time we've chosen something by him.
I think so, yeah.
J-Con Sketch. And this was, we had a lot to choose from, and we had quite the discussion.
There was a lot to choose from, and we could have picked a lot of different pieces.
Yes.
We settled on this.
Well, we settled for a number of reasons. First of all, we didn't know if transgender, we thought was, of course, a dynamite quote from our president. He said it, transgender people. And that was a possible show title. Now, we always choose the art before we choose the show title, but I'm sure we both had that in mind. And, we kind of compare what do you have on your list and what I have on my list. And then we're trying to find the right artwork to go with it. And this one is clearly his interpretation of Joe Biden with a lot of stacks and stacks of dollar bills behind him. And he's spinning the wheel of fortune, and he's got transgender, indict Trump, look, aliens, climate fires. And let's talk about what else we looked at and why we wound up with this one, because there were a lot of very good transgender pieces. In fact, the piece we both liked the most, there was a critical technical error, which we could not get around.
Which one?
Well, the transgender by, hold on, bring it up right now. By Pet Rex.
Oh, yeah. There's no Dvorak Curry on there.
Which is a critical technical error.
Nowadays, yeah.
Yeah. That, to us, was a great piece. We discussed the Trump transgender Joker jester, which we both agreed was an evergreen. In fact, you used that in the newsletter. We wish that the woke victims unit, any of them, had used the correct font, which you're a stickler for. Correct?
Yeah, but it was probably not going to get picked anyway.
You advocate.
The one down at the bottom, the one if you go down to correct the records, I think he's using the correct font.
Yeah, but it was too small.
And that's no good. Yeah, no, it was no good. It was Law and Order too,
Yeah, it was wrong.
And it was on a Macintosh or something. I don't know what that TV is. Nobody has a TV.
No one has TVs anymore, bro. What you doing?
They don't have that TV, that's for sure. So that's no good.
You were actually quite a fan of Sir Paul Couture's Ron DeSantis.
I liked that piece a lot. I just thought it was funny.
But, we don't really like putting people's heads like that on the artwork. I think we both like the idea of My Taint Hurts by Francisco Scaramanga.
It's a nice piece. It's well done.
It's a good piece if you blow it up. Yeah, if you blow it up to huge size, it might have been good. You mentioned Adios Tet by Darren O'Neill, which had his shack with no Wi-Fi.
I like that piece a lot. I think it's a good piece, but it was obscure.
Yeah, a little too obscure. Pocket Pardons, none of those really hit home. There were a couple others.
There's amazing quality I think the level of quality of all those pieces for that show was higher than average by a lot.
Yes, and of course the Comixer Blogger AI, we had to just ignore all those. It's not good. He just puts in transgender into a computer, and it comes up kind of soulless. You know what I mean? There's no. It's like there's no flaw that is the perfect joke. This is why so-called AI, just sucks. It's soulless. It has no soul. Dale's Desk, another Scaramanga. The head. If it had the heads on the desk, but it was the head in boxes, and you couldn't see any heads.
And the heads were not in boxes.
No, he just made that up.
Yeah. It was actually heads.
It was heads. Telling you.
Decapitated heads on the guy's desk.
Small heads.
What a great job.
Did you hear, by the way, it's kind of a follow-on to that about what happened at Harvard?
No.
Oh, here's our secret clip. Listen to this.
Is it real? Yes, he was already passed away, but still.
This morning, the daughters of a New Hampshire sheriff's deputy who passed away in 2019 say they're horrified to learn their father's body was part of a grotesque criminal scheme at Harvard University. FBI agents yesterday arrested this man, Cedric Lodge, for allegedly stealing and selling dissected human body parts while he was manager of the morgue at Harvard Medical School. Investigators say in a scheme dating back to 2018, Lodge stole heads, brains, skin, and bones from cadavers donated to the school for educational purposes. He then allegedly brought those parts to his home and, with his wife's help, sold them for tens of thousands of dollars.
On eBay.
Who could do something like that? What kind of person? No respect at all for the family. They need to pay.
Do you have anything to say to the family?
Nope. Buyers identified in the indictment include Katrina McLean, owner of Cat's Creepy Creations, a Massachusetts store that advertises creations that shock the mind and shake the soul. Officials say she and others were allowed to enter the morgue and choose what they wanted to buy, some items selling for hundreds of dollars each. In one case, skin that was sold was allegedly made into leather. And a PayPal account from one client allegedly included a transaction labeled Head Number 7. The deans at Harvard Medical School calling the allegations an abhorrent betrayal. But for the families involved, their trust has been lost. The family of that New Hampshire sheriff's deputy say his wife died earlier this year. Her body was also donated to Harvard. Her daughters now want her body returned.
She's down there. Yeah. And we want her back.
Dude, what's going on?
This is a bunch of ghouls. This, again, I'll bring it back to the earlier part of the show. This is a reflection of the president.
Yes. Oh, you do. That's so good. Yeah.
The president's corrupt, and so every institution, everything is just gone off the rails. And you got Harvard, of all places, they can't even hire somebody, pay him enough money that he hasn't yet set up an Etsy account for, eyeballs or whatever he's doing.
Etsy. Etsy eyeballs, everybody. There you go. So thank you very much, new artiste, J-Con Sketch. He's done a couple of, and he did something that you liked.
He's done a lot of good work.
Yeah, this was a piece that he reworked.
Yeah, repurposed.
Yeah, repurposed with a new character in there, and he does have a style, man. He's got a style. We almost chose his old Trout, if you recall.
Yes, there was a couple. Yeah. There was a couple. Now, as you mentioned, there's another piece. He did the one with the. Let me go look at his stuff. He did a piece with that we wanted to do, which was.
I thought it was Old Trout. Was it?
No, it was Old Trout. You're right. I thought he did the one with Jesus coming out of the.
No, he didn't.
That was some other artist.
That was some other ghoul. But this was good. It was worthy. We appreciate it. Thank you very much, J-Con Sketch. Welcome to the leaderboard. He is now, and he's residing in Boise, Idaho, it says on his profile.
Boise.
He's in Boise, that's right. Thank you very much for your talent and your time. Now for the treasure to keep the show going. It's very needed, and people stepped up. We appreciate that after we had a very, very low, a couple of shows in a row, actually, but people came in and stepped up, and we appreciate it. So it's time to thank our executive and associate executive producers for episode 1564. And we start off with Derek Boga in Warsaw, Indiana. $1,000. Boom! But did he put in for a knighthood?
Whatever he said.
Well, I don't see it. And he says, this is nice, I have listened to the No Agenda since episode 1.
Yeah, I feel sorry for him.
This show is the best No, he says, please emphasize in booming voice. This show is the best podcast in the universe. The entertainment and the insight I have received is priceless. Jingle. No winning. My son's favorite. Thank you, Derek.
My favorite.
And your favorite.
Oh, there's no winning. We don't like to foster a competitive atmosphere, but we laugh a lot. Now everyone hug and share a secret.
A crowd favorite, in fact. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Derek. Let me see. Did Derek make it onto the list here for the...
I don't think he chose anything. We have to wait.
No, we'll have to wait. Yeah, we do have 2 nights.
I don't think
today,
he's on the list. If you don't say anything,
he's not. By the way, I'd like to mention Mike Riley will be at HeroCon in Charlotte, North Carolina. Nice sound effect, John. Thank you. Because that's how good he is. People go to see him. Not that we have any.
Get his autograph.
Yeah, because it'll be worth something one day.
Get a signed work.
Yes, just wanted to mention that because he is
buy a comic book.
One of our artists.
There you go. That's enough.
That's
enough.
Pluggos
for
plugs. Yeah,
Mike. Countess Kim of the Nutty Fluffers, $800.85. She wrote
Oh, that's a super boob. Boobs.
Super boobs. ITM, John and Adam, next time I hear that I'm not paying my fair share in taxes, I'm going to scream. I bust my bottom from morning to night, creating job and doing my part to stimulate the economy, creating jobs, and doing my part to stimulate the economy just to hold that my 6-figure yearly tax debt is not enough.
Whoa.
Wow. Okay.
Dang.
Not to say what my company generates in sales and payroll taxes, which she feels should be enough. Anyway, she had to get that off her chest. Speaking of chest, can I please get some F cancer R2D2 karma, surgery karma, after staring breast cancer in the face and kicking butt? Now I have to put my sweater puppies back together. Sir Kevin, thank you for your support of all the twins in Gitmo Nation.
Oh, she's referring to Kevin McLaughlin.
Yes. Last but not least, so she needs some F cancer.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
We'll give it at the end, okay.
Yeah, at the end.
Last but not least, I'd like to give my dad, John, a biscuit for his birthday.
They always give me a biscuit on my birthday.
For a 64th trip around the sun, and also say Happy Father's Day to him.
Ooh, in advance.
I, however, am keeping this donation for myself. He can do his own de-douching. He has helped make me strong, determined woman that I am.
Yeah.
Without his leadership and leading by example, I would not be where I am today. Thank you, Dad, for all that you did for us. Thank you so much for you, too, and all you do. Keep up the good work. And your amazing media deconstruction. Love is lit. Countess Kim, keeper of the Nutty Fluffers in Hubbard, Oregon.
You've got karma.
Thank you, Countess Kim. Thank you. Arthur Stanton in Cumming, Georgia, 350 and 41. There must be a reason for that. He says, this is probably too late to make the birthday list for today's show. I don't know when you sent it in, but here it is. Better late than never. I turned 56 on June 13th and have never been an executive producer, so I'm giving that to myself for my birthday. Nice.
Now you're talking.
Nice, Arthur. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Kathy Knight in Mesa, Arizona, 333.33. ITM, John and Adam, here's the best podcast in the universe. A de-douching, please.
You've been de-douched.
My husband and I enjoy listening to the show. You two are informative and funny. No jingles, no karma, Kathy.
Eric Adler, Punta Gorda, Florida, 333.33. No note. I don't have anything. You looked, I'm sure. Nothing that you found in your archives?
The only note I have, not from Eric Gordon.
Eric Adler. No. Eric Adler. No.
Adler.
We'll give him a double up karma then.
You've got double up karma.
Ryan George in Crest Hill, Illinois. And he's in for 333.33. Happy Father's Day to the Sass Man, S-A-S-S, all caps, Marshall Field. And I need some of that sweet home buying karma. Thanks, mofos.
You're welcome.
You've got karma.
Man, I'm really getting them today. Darius Gandhi, Santa Monica, California, 333. No note. No note. No note. No note. Oh, double up karma for you then, Darius.
You've got double up karma.
And please send your notes to notes@noagendashow.net.
Yes.
Karen Seltzer in LaGrange, Kentucky. ITM, this is a birthday, Father's Day shout out to my smoking hot husband, Sir Brad 1X, who celebrated his 57th birthday on the 10th. He is the best husband and father. Please give him a biscuit for his birthday.
They always give me a biscuit on my birthday.
And some Reverend Al R2D2 Karma. Wow.
Love
just like the other one almost.
Yeah. Love from Karen.
R-E-S-P-I-C-T.
You've got karma.
Edward Pash, Omaha, Nebraska, 333. This donation elevates me to knight status. Shout out to Lee Britton, a.k.a. Sir Stavard Ironbrand, who hit me in the mouth in 2016. Oh, well. Please knight me Sir Edward the Henpecked. I would like Coke Zero and pizza rolls at the round table. I have them ordered. They're right there waiting for you. Thank you very much.
I don't hear the word henpecked as much as I used to.
No, it's we need to bring that back. It's good.
Be Happy and Don Worry, Worry, W-R-I. $300 in some place in California. Or no, in Canada. No note. We'll give them the double up.
You've got karma.
Yeah. That coming as a check. So,
that's why it's in gray. Got it. Gregory William Forsyth Foreman, also known as Gwoof, from Bromley, Kent, in the UK's our first associate executive producer with 28008, 280 cents. This associate producer boob donation is part DB, a.k.a. Governor Dana the Boss Brunetti drunk donation drive. Is he writing this drunk, do you think? Sure looks like it. It looks like it.
Yeah. It's possible.
Part down payment on potential Curry Dvorak Consulting Group work with No Agenda Productions. Oh, for prospective TV show development work. Okay.
Well, you got the right attitude about alcohol if you're going to go into that business.
I meant to be showing sober solidarity with my pregnant wife, but she doesn't listen to the show and rarely doom scrolls NA social, so I might just get away with having 10 too many Orm Brown real ales. Due to recent low donations, I'll be upping my recurring fealty donation from $5 per month to $34 per month by following up with ISOs exploiting the talent of my human resources. Hashtag no jingles, no karma. P.S. Shipping for physical Too Many Eggs book available at toomanyeggs.com to the UK is $98. What?
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, do they still have that Royal Mail strike and everything going on there?
You got to have a publisher. We have to get a publisher over there to print the book.
That's insane. That country's going to crap, man. Did you hear about Bojo?
Well, free. You can just get a free PDF.
Yeah, but he wants to support Mimi. Hashtag stay humble, Gwoof the cock. Okay, thank you very much, Gregory. We appreciate that, man, a lot.
On to associate execs, starting with Joe Dirks in Amsterdam. Is there some Dutch pronunciation of Joe Dirks?
Dirks, probably Dirks.
Joe Dirks.
No, Joe Dirks.
Meetup donation, 6 feet and under, 2nd June. Man hath was so gazelish.
Okay.
Ach man het was no gezellig.
Yeah, close. Ach man, het was zo gezellig.
Close enough.
So that donation, the meetup, and they sent me some pictures. They built out a whole cellar of some old building and then turned it into a meetup space.
Now you're talking.
Very cool. The Dutch, man, they're all over that. Sir Tooth Fairy is in Valparaiso. I should know. Indiana. 223. Could I get some travel karma, please? Well, of course you can.
You've got karma.
Stephen Peterson in Kingaroy, Queensland, Australia. Piss poor exchange rate. No jingles. Just like to hear John try to pronounce the old Australian colloquialism. Good day, Cobber. Thanks for a good laugh amongst our darkening and pathetic situation. Shears, he came in with $222. A row of ducks and 22 cents.
Dame Beth in Tucson, Arizona, also a row of ducks, 222.22. Heil, boys! Calling all Southern Arizona slaves to the Too Hot Tucson Solstice Soiree next Wednesday, June 21st at Canyons Crown, where we will celebrate the fact we don't have daylight saving time. No jingle, no karma. Dame Beth, that's right. Arizona, smart. Smart.
It's our old buddy, Sir Foam Finger number 1 in Louisville, Kentucky, 222.22. Amigos, I'm about to make a large personal purchase, but I want to share value with you at first.
Oh, how nice.
Please send negotiation karma. Yours in podcasting, Sir Foam Finger number 1.
Here's your karma, brother.
You've got karma.
And we have Baroness Salty in Manchester, New Hampshire, 222. Happy Father's Day, fellas. Everyone's early with Father's Day. We didn't have a single early Mother's Day donation. Of course,
everyone hates their mom. We've already said that.
Of course, before. we're non-women. Everyone hates their mom. Happy Father's Day, fellas. Please add Baroness Salty, that's me, to the birthday list for 625. God bless you both. And please play some fake Reverend Al for jingles. Fake? There's no such thing as a fake.
We don't have any fakes.
No, I got this one, though.
I wonder if she thinks that these are fakes.
No, these are these are the real deal.
No, but I'm just wondering whether, because they're so outrageous.
Especially this one.
The GOP infighting is escalating. Politico says Democrats are outright jitty. Happy to watch the GOP implode.
Yeah, a jitty. Right, a straight up jitty. Thank you very much, Baroness Salty. You're on the list.
Sir Salah Hauser of the 321 in Melbourne, Florida. Thanks for everything y'all do. Trans-Maoism deconstruction has been very enlightening. Shout out to everyone coming to the Cocoa, Florida meetup Saturday. John, get a soda stream. It's time to evaluate your seltzer game. Well, I think what he means is upgrade. Sales karma, please. Sir Salah Hauser, the 321.
Hey, so I had a soda stream. They suck. I never liked that thing. Do you ever have a soda stream?
No, I never thought to get one because I did a calculation on buying discounted sparkling water versus the soda stream, and it was cheaper.
Yeah. Are you drinking some today?
Yes, I have some. My last can of LaCroix.
Oh, LaCroix. There you go. Here's your karma, bro.
You've got karma.
Then we have Taylor Koss. Taylor Koss, Denver, Colorado, $200. This donation is a switcheroo, all right? To be credited to Tori and Will Gherkin. All right, let me do that right now. Tori and Will Gherkin. There we go. Set. Thank you both for the wedding gift. Well, that's Tori and Will, I guess. We figured we should return the value back, and what a better way than a producership to the podcast that brought us into each other's lives. Oh, how? This is a love connection. We wish you two the happiest and healthiest of marriages. Please send them some karma. Will do. Also, my new husband, John, and I are looking for a bit of house buying, baby making, and jobs karma as well. Anyone looking to hire a social media manager, drone operator, photographer, nonprofit fundraiser, financial analyst, or anything Bitcoin related, Bitcoin only, no crypto, please email us at contacttravelingtacos@gmail.com.
Oh, we can get some guys who can drive the drones and get some nice photos is great.
contacttravelingtacos@gmail.com. Also, check out our travel blog, thetravelingtacos.com, our media company, dukismedia.com, and listen to John on the Millennial Media Offensive every Tuesday night. Thank you, Adam and John, for having such an incredible show and community. We will miss all of our Denver meetup producers dearly. Mississippi folks, be on the lookout for meetups coming soon. All right, jobs karma incoming for you. Thank you for your support.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
I added a goat because they needed all kinds of karma.
This is the couple that left Denver to move to Mississippi.
Yes, and they're the media, millennial
and they're going to
media
take their little drone business with them.
Yeah. Nice.
Linda Lupatkin in Lakewood, Colorado, 200. is our last associate executive. Jobs Karma for all you job hunters out there, and for a competition edge to go to ImageMakers, and for a competitive edge, go to ImageMakersInc.com for all your executive resume and job search needs. That's ImageMakers Inc. with a K. Go podcasting.
Oh, I didn't expect to go podcasting. Who has go podcasting?
Well, that's what she said.
Yeah, you know what? It's like I have it on my podcasting 2.0 rig. I feel bad. I should have it on this one too.
Go podcasting!
And Jobs Karma.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And that's our group of associate and pure executive producers for show 1564. And it was a good group today, so we want to thank you all for helping us out.
Yes, and if you'd like to become an executive or associate executive producer of the best podcast in the universe, why wouldn't you? Well, it's very easy. Just go here.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And remember, these titles are official and real for your lifetime.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
Yeah.
I'd like to start off with an Ask Adam.
Oh my goodness! Oh, you're really pushing me through the jingle mill here today. Okay.
As we know that. Okay, here we go.
Well,
this is about
Bud
beer.
Light is no.
Hold on. Where's my Ask Adam jingle? I have so many of them.
Ask Adam. Ask Adam. Ask
Adam. All right. Okay, Ask Adam. All right. So what do we have here? Ask Adam 1. Here we go.
Bud Light is no longer the top-selling beer in the U.S.
Yes.
I'm asking, what is now, and unless you know this, you'd never guess it in a million years. What is the top-selling beer that replaced Bud Light?
What I'm going to say is I don't know the name, but I'll bet you it's made by Anheuser-Busch. I
don't know if it... I'd have to look in the InBev list because it's every other beer in the world, but this is unbelievable to me. Here we go.
Bud Light is no longer the top-selling beer in the U.S. Modelo Especial took the spot in May.
I did know this.
The fallout from the brand's engagement with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney continues to hurt the brand. Sales volume of Bud Light plunged by over 24% in the week ending June 3rd. It extends the decline triggered when the brand rolled out a personalized beer can featuring the face of Mulvaney. Mulvaney, who has over 10 million followers on TikTok, posted a series of videos plugging Bud Light and showing off the personalized can. This sparked outrage among many conservatives, some who accused the brand of promoting a transgender agenda and called for a boycott.
I had heard this, and I thought it was interesting.
I find it unbelievable that the top-selling brand of beer in a beer-drinking country, the United States of America, the top-selling brand is a Mexican beer. We can't even make our own damn beer?
I guess, well, we can. We promote it with the wrong people. That alienates the brand audience. It's not smart. Not smart.
All right. I just found that annoying as hell.
I found a jingle that is important to play. I've been looking for this. It's so mislabeled, but I finally found it.
Where in the world is
Victoria Cake and Noodleman?
Big news. Big news from our boy, Seymour Hersh. You read his Substack, don't you? I think it just came out yesterday or today, his latest. Hello?
I'm unfamiliar with what he did.
He says in his Partners in Doomsday Substack. Now, we take Seymour Hersh with reverence. We feel he knows what he speaketh of.
Yeah, there's no evidence that he's full of shit.
No. Okay. As I was planning to write this week about the expanding war in Ukraine and the danger it poses for the Biden administration, I had a lot to say. Deputy Secretary of State Wendy Sherman has resigned, and her last day in office is June 30th. Her departure has triggered near panic inside the State Department about the person many there fear will be chosen to replace her, Victoria Nuland. She will now become the Assistant Secretary of State, right back where she can do the most damage. This is not good, because the Kagans are in charge of everything now. They're in charge of this war, and I will prove that with a clip from France 24 with douchebag Doug. The guy who he's the American who goes on.
Our friend.
Yeah, douchebag Doug. Listen, we don't have to play the whole clip. You'll laugh your ass off.
To get a sense of exactly what's going on, I want to bring in our international affairs commentator Douglas Herbert. Right, we've heard about the 3 villages that have been liberated, so say Ukraine. Tell us about the minutiae and what perhaps the strategy is behind this.
What's going on here, right? Because we're not going to start saying, has the counteroffensive begun again? We've been going on about that for days and weeks now. Look, what the Institute for the Study of War, which has become an authority on this entire war in Ukraine.
Okay, so Doug gets his talking points from the Institute for the Study of War. This is the Kagan Institute. Yes, Yes. So he is, and he said, this has become the authority on the entire Ukraine war. Enough said, douchebag Doug. You overplayed your hand, bro.
On about that for days and weeks now. Look, what the Institute for the Study of War, which has become an authority on this entire war in Ukraine, says we're seeing
the authority on the entire war, everything, the entire war,
is an extraordinary, difficult tactical operation, or rather a series of tactical operations by the Ukrainian forces, what can also be called multi-pronged assaults. And why I say multi-pronged is because it's not happening all in one area. You have this image, a counteroffensive. They're going to strike, as they did last fall in Kharkiv, repel, dislodge the Russian occupiers, and that's over. This is what we really have is what's being called probing operations.
Oh, probing operations.
Yeah. The Ukrainian forces are testing the Russian defenses, essentially, along that 1,100-plus kilometer front line, which extends, as you know, Gavin, all the way from the northeast, the Kharkiv region, all the way down to the southwest, to Zaporizhia, that Kakhovka Dam region, and even off the map here, Odessa. You can see what we're talking about here. It is a very extended region. The Ukrainians are betting that the Russians do not have enough manpower or equipment power to be able to hold the entire 1,100-kilometer front line. So there may be surprises here. They're looking for weak links.
This is such bull crap. Probing up. What happened to the offensive? Oh, no, we're just doing little bits here and there. That's the big offensive. That's how it works.
I was watching, we don't have any, I didn't get any clips for this, and I should have, because we're going to have to discuss it, which is the action in Sudan, which is part of the West Clark 7.
Yes.
And they have some videos coming in from Sudan where there's an actual war, a real war going on, and it's nothing like the stuff we're getting. I mean, it's just people shooting each other left and right. There's bullets flying.
Like a real war.
It's like a real war.
Yeah.
As opposed to what we're dealing with here in this Ukrainian conflagration. The Sudan situation's completely out of control.
Well, before we get to Sudan...
like I said, I don't have any clips for today's show.
Sudan on deck. Don't worry.
Deck.
You know who was in Sudan 2.5 months ago?
Victoria
Nuland. Exactly. The woman, wherever she goes, death and destruction follows. So it looks like the Wagner group is out. New group incoming.
They led Russia to its first victory in months. But for the leader of the Wagner mercenary group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, seeing his men under the command of the Russian Defense Ministry is out of the question.
When we first became involved in this war, nobody said we would be obliged to sign deals with the Russian Defense Ministry. Not one of the Wagner fighters is ready to go down that path of shame again. That is why none of them will sign the contracts.
In a televised meeting on Tuesday, Putin called on volunteer fighters in Ukraine to sign contracts with the country's military, widely seen as a means to assert control of Wagner. This after Russia's parliament green-lighted legislation that will allow the defense ministry to sign contracts with suspected or convicted criminals to fight in Ukraine. Putin added that the contracts were necessary for fighters to receive social support, including compensation in case of injury and condolence payments to families of killed in action.
The Department of Defense is now offering a contract to anyone who wishes to continue serving in the special military operation area. This is the only way to guarantee social rights. This must be done, and as soon as possible.
The move is the latest attempt by Moscow to recruit more soldiers and control private armies after suffering heavy losses on the ground. The Defense Ministry has already signed a contract with the Akhmat paramilitary unit of Ramzan Kadyrov, the Moscow-backed ruler of the Chechnya region. The group is currently waging the Kremlin's offensive in the Donetsk region in Ukraine.
Akhmat. The Akhmat group now.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. And these dudes got beards. They're pretty cool. They look cool. They're from Kazakhstan, I guess. I don't know where they're from. It's the new dudes. New dudes on the block.
I think they said Chechnya.
Chechnya? Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Chechnya.
I think it was in there.
Yeah. Get ready to say this is illegal, okay? You ready? I read to you from the Financial Times. The top Republican on the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee will introduce legislation authorizing President Joe Biden to seize and transfer Russian sovereign assets to Kyiv for the long-term reconstruction of Ukraine.
This is not only illegal, this is what's making everybody look askance at the dollar as the reserve currency. This guy is single-handedly going to ruin this country by screwing up the reserve currency that the United States dollar represents. Because these sanctions and this movement, grabbing money, all these illegal moves and schemes is not going to help anything.
The move comes as both parties in Congress are increasing pressure on the Biden administration and its allies to find ways for Russian money to fund the billions of dollars that will be needed to rebuild Ukraine rather than Western taxpayers. The bipartisan bill is being filed today by Jim Risch, the Idaho Republican senator and the party's top member of the Foreign Relations Committee, along with Sheldon Whitehouse, the Rhode Island Democrat, and the Senate Judiciary Committee. It argues Russia, quote, bears responsibility for the financial burden of the reconstruction of Ukraine and gives.
So we just steal money from random dudes?
And yes, no, it's the sovereign assets. It's not even random dudes. And gives the U.S. president the ability to confiscate frozen Russian sovereign assets in the U.S., including Russian central bank assets, so they can quickly be directed to Ukraine. This is, you're right, perhaps the dumbest thing, let's put it, short-sighted at best. I mean, this is a very detailed article. So they're going to do it. You're right. This is exactly why people are moving away from the dollar as their reserve currency, because America will screw you. Am I right?
They're going to steal your money.
Yeah.
Because we can't steal it from the American public fast enough.
Well, we can. We just, we have to hire all those 87,000 IRS agents. Hard to get good people these days. Europe also, according to CNBC, Europe wants to use Russian assets to pay for Ukraine's reconstruction. Here's how it might work. The issue is highly technical, legally complex, and politically challenging, but they're going to do it. European Union getting close to brokering a detailed plan on how to use frozen Russian assets to pay for the reconstruction of Ukraine. I thought you said this would never happen.
When did I say that?
Oh, don't tempt me.
You always say that. Oh, don't tempt me. I'll find it and I'll show you.
Yeah, well, now I have Bingit.io.
What was it that I said wouldn't happen? Yeah, you do your Bing.io thing while I'm...
You said it's against international law.
It is. I didn't say they wouldn't happen. I said it's against the law. And it's specifically against international law. And it's against common sense. You can't do this to steal people's money left and right.
In such a way.
Well, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Well, where are you going to do this? The International Criminal Court? Huh? And Europe?
There's international law that prevents this. This is bull crap.
And what we discussed.
And what does that guy got to do with the price of bread?
And you said it wouldn't happen, and I said it would, and here it is.
I never said it wouldn't happen.
No, you said the same thing. I got to go back even further.
You have to go back further. I never said it wouldn't happen. I just said it's illegal.
Oh, man. I'm sure it's around here somewhere.
No, I said you proved my point right there with that old clip.
Well, see, this is how good the Bingit.io is. I can be wrong. And I'm ready to admit it. I was wrong. I feel shitty.
I don't know why I would say it would never happen, because the way things are going, it's...
Well, that's how I heard you say it.
No. I'm sure you did hear it.
That's how oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot. I have to look for it. No. Okay. Well, you're right. You never said that. You're so smart. There's a lot of
I am.
There's a lot of things you never said, but people still blame you for it. How does that work?
I know. It's just like I don't get it.
It sucks. I'm really sad about that. Even I'm falling into that trap.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. You got it. You're right. I was wrong. And then in the European Union,
since you're talking about State Department stuff, let's at least play the clips about Blinken.
Oh, yes, let's do that.
Going to China, and everyone, all the analysts on all the kind of alternative Asian news sources say this is just an act of supplication, that we are bowing down, we're giving up to China.
Yeah. China, Blinken, China, NPR1?
Yeah.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken is heading to China this weekend for some high-stakes diplomacy. Relations between the two largest economies have been sinking for years, and the Biden administration says it wants to put a stop to that. But State Department officials aren't raising expectations for any major breakthrough, as NPR's Michelle Kellerman reports.
The last time Secretary Blinken planned to go to Beijing was in February, but a Chinese spy balloon was slowly drifting across the United States.
Oh, yeah.
The secretary called off his trip, and the balloon was shot down. It was a dramatic reminder of the rising tensions between the U.S. and China. The top U.S. diplomat for the region, Daniel Crittenbrink, has been working hard behind the scenes to get that visit back on track.
And in the course of those discussions, both sides have indicated a shared interest in making sure that we have communication channels open and that we do everything possible to reduce the risk of miscalculation.
In a call with reporters, he downplayed the possibility of any real breakthrough in Secretary Blinken's meetings in Beijing on Sunday and Monday. Crittenbrink says it would be wise not to expect any real deliverables.
I do think we need to be realistic. We're not going to Beijing with the intent of having some sort of breakthrough or transformation in the way that we deal with one another. We're coming to Beijing with a realistic, confident approach and a sincere desire to manage our competition in the most responsible way possible.
Secretary Blinken spoke about that with his Chinese counterpart, Qin Gang, before both sides announced the dates of the trip. China says its top diplomat offered a pointed message to Blinken. Here's how the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin described the call. He was speaking through an interpreter.
He stressed that the U.S. need to show respect, stop meddling in China's internal affairs, and stop harming China's sovereignty, security, and development interests in the name of competition.
Wow, very succinct. Like, hey, Blinken, would you manage us as your competition? Shut up, boy. That's what I heard.
That's what you're hearing because that's what's going on.
Wow. So
how weak?
We're so weak.
It's very weak, and we're weak. We've become weak. And here we go, part 2 of this clip.
China says Blinken must also respect the country's core concerns. That includes Taiwan. Biden administration officials say Blinken will be talking about all the U.S. concerns, including human rights and threats against Taiwan. A top White House official on Asia, Kurt Campbell, spoke to reporters today while traveling from India to Japan. It's part of his effort to build up alliances to help in this competition with China.
As the competition continues, the PRC will take provocative steps from the Taiwan Strait to Cuba, and we will push back.
The Wall Street Journal recently reported on a Chinese listening post in Cuba. The Biden administration says that base dates back to the Trump era and insists that the U.S. is doing more now to counter China's global military and intelligence efforts.
Wow. It's just all so sad.
And it's getting worse. Listen to this clip. This is China meddling in the Middle East.
Oh, interesting.
Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas is in China today. He'll meet with China's leader Xi Jinping, and China has said it wants to help broker any peace talks between Palestinians and Israelis. Part of what NPR's Emily Fang reports is China's effort to build up influence in the Middle East.
Unlike the U.S., China officially recognizes the Palestinian state as a country, and Beijing's relationship with the Palestine Liberation Organization, which Abbas chairs, dates back to the Cold War. Abbas is in Beijing for the next 2 days. The visit Chinese state media has been promoting as a chance for China to play a greater role in helping broker better relations between Israelis and Palestinians. China has indicated it wants to be a more active player in the Middle East, especially under the auspices of a new and very vaguely defined global security initiative proposed by China's President Xi earlier this year. In March, China helped broker a truce between Saudi Arabia and Iran.
They're doing exactly what we used to do. You know, hey, here we are, big swinging dick. Come on, we're going to fix everything here.
Yeah, they took a copy of the Economic Hitman.
Yep.
And they read it thoroughly, and they're doing exactly what we used to do.
Yeah. Rubbleizing. They're going over there. The jackals are coming out. Hey, you want to play ball with us? Oh, man. Do you think we can still be the great America that we once were?
It's a cycle. It's a cycle. Yeah, probably. We probably can.
Well, this is all great reset. Things are resetting. Things are going back to, new. Just stuff is happening. We got a dead queen. We still on deck for the Pope. Hate to say it, but that would be part of the Great Reset. And of course, the big news out of Italy.
Before Donald Trump, there was Silvio Berlusconi, a flamboyant showman, property magnate, and media tycoon. He dominated Italian politics for the best part of 2 decades, winning 3 elections and becoming the longest-serving prime minister since the war. Today, it was announced that Silvio Berlusconi had died at the age of 86.
To the outside world, he seemed something of a buffoon. We either smirked at his gaffes or scowled at the alleged corruption, the apparent homophobia and racism, and his undoubted eye for a pretty face. This was, after all, the man who'd gone from cruise ship crooner to hosting sex parties at his palatial villa outside Milan.
Complimenti, siete così bravi che mi viene voglia di invitarvi al Bunga Bunga.
My compliments. You are so good, I am almost forced to invite you for some Bunga Bunga.
Yeah, the Bunga Bunga parties. Good times.
Bunga Bunga.
Good times.
That guy was Trump on steroids.
Yeah.
And they used to talk about, he's going to jail. He's got to run for re-election because they're going to put him in prison and all the rest of it. And none of it ever happened.
Yeah, but he also
the media lied.
He never really regained the same power that he had at one point. He kept they brought him in for a little bit, then they got rid of his
he peaked.
Yeah, he did peak.
Yeah.
I don't think I played this from the last show. Universal basic income in the UK. Did we talk about that?
I believe we might have, but let's play it anyway.
Just in case, because this was on. I think we played this. I feel stupid that I don't know. It was Good Morning Britain.
What if you were paid an income each month without having to lift a finger? That's a proposal for a universal basic income trial that could take place in some parts of England to find out what impact the money has on people's lives. And we're joined now by Will Strong, who's Director of Research at Autonomy, the think tank behind the scheme, and former apprentice winner Michelle Dewberry. So,
good morning to you both. Will Strong, what on earth are you talking about? £1,600 a month and you don't have to work? Why?
Yeah, so this is a really exciting pilot happening in 2 parts of the country. We had a 2-year consultation with communities there, and it's a really exciting idea that's happening all over the world. So 100 pilots in America happening right now, a pilot in Wales, a pilot in Finland.
But why?
Why? Because this is basically, there's a number of reasons. I think there's 2 kind of ways of looking at this. On the one hand, solving some of the problems in our current system, so the welfare system doesn't work, it's widely condemned as basically immoral and ineffective at getting people into work. And secondly, preparing us for the future. We've gone through the COVID pandemic, we've gone through the cost of living crisis. There's so many different kind of tumultuous moments ahead of us: climate change, AI disruption, tech disruption of all kinds. We need a solid income floor.
And in the pilots, you're going to give, in the pilot areas, a working person £1,600 a month, for which they have to do nothing. So that's £20,000, £19,000, £200 a year. And the idea is what? If you just give them the money, does that make them work more or less?
Well, this is what we're going to find out. This is why we're running pilots. This is why pilots are the thing right now of basic income, to understand what are the different outcomes, different demographics, different income levels. Do people continue working? Do they like their job? Do they feel like they need to have purpose to their work? Or do they try something else?
Yeah. Guess what? Just going to think that won't make people work more? Don't need a pilot for that. By the way, pilots, it was a vote. Pilots can now retire at 67 in the United States instead of 65.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, because we have no more pilots. A lot of them are just dead. And why do we need universal basic income in America? Well, maybe this is a clue.
Americans are digging themselves into a deep financial hole, approaching $1 trillion in credit card debt. The nation's record high credit card debt now stands at nearly $988 billion. That's around $5,700 per person. Those between 40 and 49 years old have the most debt among all age brackets, with about $7,600 on their cards. High interest rates and inflation are adding to the problem.
Yeah, even though inflation is down by 50%, which started during the Biden administration, although we can't blame him for it. We all went crazy, printed up all this money, and it flushed into the system. And so now, if you hadn't already heard about the hotels in San Francisco, there's more.
There's concern that San Francisco could turn into a so-called zombie city, with its downtown hollowed out by a fentanyl epidemic, pervasive homelessness, and fleeing retailers. And you just mentioned that last significant hit. The biggest mall in the city, right in downtown, is leaving.
This morning, a San Francisco mall at the epicenter of a growing real estate dead zone in a major American city. Battling rising crime, soaring real estate prices, and a homelessness crisis, the city dealt its latest blow this week. Westfield, which owns the city's largest mall, stopped paying its $500 million mortgage and is surrendering the property to lenders. The company citing dramatically decreased occupancy down to approximately 55%, including already announced closures of tenants such as Nordstrom, Banana Republic, and others. Also giving up on downtown, hundreds of other companies, including Gap and Whole Foods.
Union Square used to be the beating heart of San Francisco, but a recent survey found that since 2019, nearly 50% of all the stores here have left. Now it's empty storefront after empty storefront after empty storefront.
The last time I was here was 2019, so it was great back then. Now I was like, I'm scared. I was thinking to switch my hotel.
In the first quarter of the year, the city saw a 16% rise in robberies and a 41% spike in fentanyl deaths over the same period in 2022.
We're seeing it all over right now. Companies are leaving the city. Is San Francisco dangerous?
Well, here's the thing. San Francisco is a major city, and it has challenges. But let's back up a little bit. You are talking about people who are leaving the city, but not the people who are staying, expanding, coming to San Francisco.
But it's not just San Francisco. Other West Coast cities, including Portland, Seattle, and Los Angeles, also suffering from a similar trend of downtown decay.
The mayor noting that several metrics of crime are actually flat or down, but it is worth mentioning that we are not at Union Square or the Westfield Mall this morning because we have been advised it is simply too dangerous to be there at this hour.
Crime is down because there's no one left to rob.
Well, no, the crime is not down, I've brought this up on the show before, and I'll do it again.
Please do.
Because nobody's reporting the crimes, and the cops aren't going out. There's not enough cops to take down reports. So thus, Yeah, in fact, abolish the police and crime will go down to zero.
Yeah, well, that's what Austin's doing. We were in Austin last night, and our description of Austin, sticky. The whole place is just sticky.
Sticky or stinky?
Well, that too, but it just feels sticky. Like it's grimy and dirty. And we used to live downtown. Grimy and dirty and stinky and sticky. And why are you still there, man?
You talking to me?
Yes.
I'm not in Austin.
No, why are you still in San Francisco?
I'm not in San Francisco. That's the point. I wouldn't move. I wouldn't live in San Francisco in a million years. I'm a great distance away.
But the zombies...
water. I have to go across water.
Yeah, but the zombies...
Take bridges to get to San Francisco.
The zombies are going to cross that bridge.
They're not coming over because there's no pedestrian allowed.
There's no one to rob? Is that what you're saying? No one to rob in Berkeley?
They got to eat each other.
They got to cross the mud flats, man.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
I'm laughing, but I don't feel good about it. I want to make sure you're safe because those zombies, man, they will cross water.
Well, I haven't seen that yet.
Okay.
And they first have to go to Berkeley. Allison is in Taiwan, it looks like. Oh, yes.
Oh.
This is Allison. I don't have her last name. I should have it. This is a transfer, a wire transfer. She's got it over $150. I thought I sent the name over correctly, but I didn't. But anyway, thanks, Allison. And it did work.
Well, she said, this will be my final donation from Taiwan. My husband and I are ready to come home after spending 8 years here.
Do you have her last name? I guess maybe she doesn't.
No, I do not. I do not have a last name. Well, thank you, Allison.
This will be her last donation from Taiwan, but she did get the donation in.
Yeah. So nice.
Lorcan Byrne in Dublin, Ireland, $150. And Lorcan says, yeah. Lisa O'Connor, who should be in Dublin, is in Kankakee, Illinois. Happy Father's Day. Scotty O'Connor, we have to read out the dad's names, needs a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
I think the de-douching is for Lisa. That's $150. Jody White, Houston, Louisiana, $150. And that's a shout out to the May and Dude Ranch in Bandera. Oh, okay. Nothing to do with anything. Sir Ladyboy in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, $138. Sir Allen in Midlothian, Virginia, 12345. I had to feel like reading this too. You guys still irritate me, but what the heck? It's a great show, so here's a donation.
Thanks.
Hate listener. Betty Boop in Kettering, Ohio.
I remember
100.
I remember Betty. Yeah. Hey, Betty. Hey, Betty.
Betty's good woman.
Yeah.
Nancy Chardevoin in Centennial, Colorado, 100. Rebecca Weintraub in Columbia, Maryland. Please tell your audience to believe in themselves. It's got a long note here for some reason.
And know that their intuitive answers are the right answers. Just so you know, we're not obliged to read the notes under executive associate executive producer, but nice. Oh, she sent the picture of her wearing the Appetite for Deconstruction T-shirt she bought.
Oh, okay.
That was nice. Thank you.
Anyway, Rebecca's in for $100. Lucas Williams is $100. He's in Roswell, New Mexico.
Yo.
I think Lucas is the one who sent us the souvenirs.
Yes, the little spinning top.
Lame souvenirs, too, we have to say.
I liked it.
Anonymous in Clifton, New Jersey, 100. Matt Stevens in Waycross, Georgia, 100. Sir Kevin McLaughlin in Locust, North Carolina, 8008. Aaron Jones in North Barrington, Illinois, 8008.
Nice.
Needs a de-douching.
Got it.
You've been de-douched.
Timothy Hutner in Navan, Ontario, Canada, 7777. Gary Blatt in Ashland, Kentucky, 7777. Joseph Weish in Miami, Florida, 7777. He has a note.
Yeah, I read this. I just want to make a point. He works in the he's speaking as a retired law enforcement officer who worked at Miami International Airport. He says, I have some information that may make sense. The TSA search less time-consuming. Adam, you make your living communicating with your mouth. I would suggest that when you're in line where carry-on baggage is placed, the moment that seems to be a concern over your podcast equipment, immediately speak up and dispel the... Listen to me, Joe Wyke. Thank you for your donation. I always do this. I say, oh, yeah, that's my mixer in there. And I know what you think that thing looks like. It's a microphone. It's not what you think. I'm always speaking up. I do that. And you know what they do? They take longer when I do that. Oh, funny, man. You think you're funny, huh? Think you're going to tell us how to do our job? It may just be the Austin people, but they're dicks. So, yes, I am very good at communicating. I immediately go, I tell them exactly what's going on. And you know what they do? They ignore me. And then they wait. And then they go put some bins away. I got some bins to move here. So I appreciate what you're saying. But it may be that way in Miami. But in Austin, they're horrible.
I'm sorry, Joe wrote the note.
Yeah.
Rita Harrington in Sparks, Nevada, $65. Christopher Dechter, 5678. Sir, hold my beer in Austin, Texas, $55.55. He also says space is fake. Our listener. Amy Harmon, Asheville, North Carolina, 5140. Bob Butler, Cumming, Georgia, 5069. John Cortazal in Pensacola, Florida, 5001. Sir, economic hitman in Tomball, Texas, or Tom's Balls, Texas, 5001. And the following are $50 donors, name and location. Michael Wendell, Mattawan, New Jersey. Stephen Ing in Box Elder, South Dakota. Gary Mao in Woodland Hills, California. But Dame Patricia Worthington, Miami, Florida. Brandon Savoy in Port Orchard, Washington. Real Deals Now in San Antonio, Texas. Cushly Care Doula Service in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, they sent a meetup report, yes. Thanks for helping people remember to build connection. That's right. Stuart, her husband, who I think does the accounting for the Cushly Care Doula Service.
Kevin Dills in Huntersville, North Carolina. Christian Freeman in San Marcos, Texas. We have a birthday for Ian Johnston in Kelowna, BC, and wrote for some reason, a long note here, but likes her. He really is in love with his wife. He loves her.
I only want to mention that he is the creator of such fabulous jingles as Nap for Humanity, Drunk or Not Drunk, and one we haven't played in a long time.
Adam's gonna read his email.
Remember this one?
Adam's gonna read his email.
I think that should be a feature we bring back.
Hold on the No Agenda Show. Yep, we got to bring that one back. Thanks for reminding me, Ian. Good one.
Well, I liked it when you read the Facebook post.
I'm not on
Philip
Facebook.
Ballou in Louisville, Kentucky. Michael Thompson in New Braunfels, Texas. Easy Landscapes in North Stonington, Connecticut. Kelly McDill in Mission Hills, Kansas. Chris Lewinsky in Sherwood Park, Alberta. Big Papa Productions in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And holy mackerel, we got a long one here.
But this is a knighthood. I'll breeze through it because we read the night notes. Andrew Smith, Indian Land, South Carolina. Adam and John, my apologies for the long overdue knighting. Accounting attached. It's been a whirlwind of a year, buying a home, getting married, juggling all life's challenges. Actually show 1,500 that put me over the edge. I could not resist the call and ran some quick math while watching the Halikala sunrise on my honeymoon. Nevertheless, 6 months later, the accounting is in. All my $5 monthlies and individual contributions have paid off. Thank you both for everything you do. No Agenda holds a special place in my heart, keeps me sane year after year. It has served as a keystone and grounding element of my life. Nothing I can give or do for the show will amount to the value I receive. John, you have been a foundational force in my career as a software engineer and constantly challenged the norm, going back to the Tech TV days. How about that? It's nice.
Tech TV donation.
Adam, thank you for following your passions and going going to the beat of your own drum. Your dedication to your craft is a true inspiration. No special night name, just simply Sir Andrew. Also, if I may, I'd like to be added to the birthday list for Wednesday, June 14th. Nothing to request at the round table. If I could get a biscuit on my birthday, yeah, I can get you a biscuit on your birthday right here.
They always give me a biscuit on my birthday.
And 2 to the head for Ayn Rand. Oh, goodness.
That's enough of that.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's on the birthday list.
Okay, I'll check that. You finish it out.
Yeah, he says
he's
no
on the
special
birthday
night,
list.
blah, blah, blah.
He's on the birthday list. Our back office rocks.
Nothing to request for the roundtable. Okay, he's good to go. Lowell Hall in Novato, California. Another birthday boy. $50, and he needs a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
Actually, the birthday's for a smoking hot wife, he puts it.
Ooh.
Brendan Demi in Drayton, Queensland, Australia. He says, your critique of Australians is justified. Good day.
Yeah.
Right. Brian P. Bellon in Ashbury, New Jersey. And last on our list of $50 donors is Robert Cardinal in Hinesville, Georgia. And he's got a pronunciation for his name. Blackbeard.
Sounds legit. Thank you to these producers who have supported the show, episode 1564. We really appreciate it very much. Thank you for everyone who supports us with time, talent, and treasure. To learn more about becoming a producer of the No Agenda Show, go here.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And a big service goat for everybody who needs it.
You've got karma.
Yes, we do have a list. Karen Seltzer wishes Sir Brad 1X a happy birthday. He turned 57 on the 10th. Arthur Stanton turned 56 on the 13th. Andrew Smith celebrated yesterday. You just heard him. Ian Johnson wishing his scorching hot Latvian wife, Christine Kalva, a happy birthday. Turned 33 yesterday. And there's Sir Brad 1X who celebrated his 57th birthday on the 10th. I guess for himself. Lowell Hall wishes his smoking hot wife, Ariela Guerrero, a happy birthday for tomorrow. Baronetess Salty on June 25th. And Countess Kim wishes her dad, John, a happy birthday. He is turning 64. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. No titles, but we do have 2 knights to handle on the stage here. There is Blade number 1. Blade 2 comes from John.
There you go.
Nice Blade. Thank you. Hello, Andrew Smith and Edward Posh. Step on up, gentlemen, both of you today. Become Knights of the No Agenda Roundtable. Thanks to your support of the show in the amount of $1,000 or more. No matter how long it takes, you get that ring and you get the pronunciation now, as I hereby pronunciate you, Sir Andrew and Sir Edward the Henpecked. Gentlemen, for you, we've got Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, by request, Coke Zero and pizza rolls. We also have some Harlots and Haldol pepperoni rolls and pale ales. We got Redheads and Rye. We got beers and blunts, Rubenesque, Rumen and Rosé, Geishas and Sake, Vodka Vanilla, Bong Hits and Bourbon, Sparkling Cider and Escort, Ginger Ale and Gerbils, Breast Milk and Pablum, or Mutton and Mead. You knew it was on the list. Go to noagendarings.com. Take a look at your prize. Beautiful night rings. Anyone can go check that out. Night and dame rings. Of course, these 2 gentlemen are the only ones who get it for today, and there's a handy sizing guide there. Send that off to us with an address to send it to you. We'll get it to you as soon as possible. And we'll get it out ASAP. Thank you very much for supporting the No Agenda Show. Over to our meetups.
No Agenda Meetups.
All right. Yes, we have varying degrees of quality today. Luckily, the Asheville non-woke, what do they call this meetup? The non-woke meetup report. Is that it? I guess so. 27 seconds of this.
Hi, this is Stuart with Asheville Non-Woke Underground Meetup.
There you go.
And I'm recording this on my Zoom H2 for John.
Daniel from Bedford. Gray from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania.
Amy in Pam's $3.99 a pound.
Trevor from Hominy Creek, staying dangerous.
Jeremy repping Shannon, Forest City.
This is Jessica from Green Valley Road, and we are clearly not underground.
In the morning.
John, I think we need a handy guide from you how to use these devices. Make sure we get...
Yeah.
And then from the Netherlands, from the basement there, the 6 Feet Under meetup.
Hello, here's Joe from the Meetup Report 6 Feet Under.
This is Frank, aka Mike, in the morning.
Hi, in the morning. In the morning, Joost.
This is Josh Surf Foxbow, the Cook Islands. This is supposed to be 6 feet under, but I'm 600 feet high right now in Amsterdam.
No kidding.
Sure, Hendrik. The romantic night of the Jesus Christ. Okay, sorry, Adam, sorry.
Cut that out.
This is Sebastian. I brought the meat, but I forgot the mutton.
In the morning.
Thank you for your courage, Amsterdam.
Oh, man.
Hey, it's Ruth here, having a great time in Amsterdam.
Oh, the only one who's not stoned.
Yay! In the morning.
I think the Netherlands is going down the drain, John. These people are just perpetually stoned. It's just like
something to do.
And we got a lot of meetups taking place in the next couple of days. Today, Kingstown House Party. That's a brand new. I can't wait to hear about A. White Mike, who was hosting that. Said it's home in Alexandria, Virginia. Mid-Coast Maine, Thursday, Thursday Thursday Liberty meetup. Hello, in Liberty, Maine. We've got the North Idaho Sandy Brigade, the third Thursday in Post Idaho Falls. We've got Summer Affirming Care in Denver Park. We've got Charlotte's Thirsty Third Thursday at Charlotte, North Carolina, Ed's Tavern. We've got the No Agenda meetup in Ireland, which will be in Dublin, Ireland. That is on Friday. On Saturday, the OKC Hooey Downtown Edition at Parlor, OKC. We got the North Fort Worth meetup at Phillips Patio Grill in Fort Worth, Texas. Central Florida Beers with Buds by the Beach. That'll be at the Village Beer Garden in Cocoa, Florida. We drink and we know things. Central Jersey meetup sounds about right. 3BR Distillery, Keyport, New Jersey. Sir Nobody of the 3D printer is hosting that. The Shrunken Amygdala Support Group in Cincinnati at Taft's Brewporium. The Tiny Amygdala Planning Committee, Bring the Kids at Sir Lane's house. That's in Alaska. All right. Cassandra, Gemini, New York Times, Rona prediction, Red 33, Northwood, Massachusetts. Of course, the Castle Island Brewery. The Portland Slave Soiree at Dick's Primal Burger in Portland, Oregon. Spot the Spook. That's in Huntsville, Alabama, West End Grill. Also on Saturday, the third Northwest Houston meetup, 6:30 at Wakefield Crowbar, Houston, Texas. State of Jefferson, God Save the Beef meetup. And that's in Shasta County, California. Contact the organizer for details. And next Sunday, or this coming Sunday, next show day, the Burke Hooey meetup at Urban 360 Pizza in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Jeff Tohig could use some support there, and it's at a pizza place, so go check it out. No Agenda meetups. It's where you meet your community. It's where you build your community. You can't just rely on technology. You can't just rely on listening to the podcast. Be a part of the movement. Go to noagendameetups.com. If you can't find one near you, start one yourself. Guaranteed a party.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days.
Bomb, bomb, bomb.
You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You want to be where everybody feels the same.
It's like a party. It is indeed just like a party. No Agenda meetups. These things are popping and hopping. I love it when people donate to promote them. That's kind of cool. I love it when people do their little raffles and stuff like that. I mean, it's fun. And connection is protection. You're going to need it. You're going to need it because it's all going to be weird in the next months, years, whatever. Meet ISOs. There you go. ISOs.
How many do you have?
Let me see. I have... Where's my ISO bin? Oh, I have 4 ISOs.
Oh, play them.
Okay. Here we go. ISO number 1.
Obviously drunk.
Okay.
Like that one.
What? You like it?
I like that one, yeah.
Yeah, I have...
I'm not afraid.
I like that one, too.
Wow.
And I think this is still a winner.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Contenders, eh?
Yeah, I think you got two in there that are pretty hot.
Yeah, hot, baby. What you got?
I got better.
We're being better.
Not bad.
Crazy.
Who is this?
And good.
I'm feeling so good.
You know, if you had just thrown one in there, so now after I heard the same voice 3 times,
No. It's not the same voice.
Well, but it's not.
There are 2 different people involved in those 3 clips.
Oh, really? Well, for some reason, it didn't work. Which one of mine do you like?
Yeah, come on. We have to go with Trump.
Yeah.
Obviously drunk.
That's not this one.
100%.
Actually, drunk and then 100% together.
Well, they're kind of long. Let me see if... it's perfect. I think...
Obviously drunk. 100%.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's a combo. It's a combo, everybody. It's a combo. All right. You want to play us out with something since we're at $3.10?
Yeah, since we're talking about this sort of thing, California, all the rest, I have to say that one of the best showboaters out here is Gavin Newsom.
Oh, yeah. He's doing an amendment, right?
He's doing a gun rights amendment. But you'd think, at least I would think, and you would think, you guys are all jacked up about guns.
Yeah, get rid of them.
So let's just repeal the Second Amendment.
Yeah, like the 21st Amendment.
Yeah. No, you're kidding me.
Democratic California Governor Gavin Newsom wants a 28th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution related to gun restrictions, but not everyone is on board. His plan for an amendment would raise the minimum age to purchase a gun from 18 to 21. It would also require universal background checks, set a, quote, reasonable waiting period for gun purchases, and also ban, quote, the civilian purchase of assault weapons, all while keeping the Second Amendment unchanged. Newsom said he plans to invoke Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution by calling a convention of states to officially propose the amendment.
Oh, it's a convention of states again.
How lame.
Well, while they're at it, why don't you abolish the Electoral College while you've got all the states all together?
Well, there's a bunch of people thinking once you get those states together, you can start submitting these things, but they still have to be passed by too many people. This is just showboating.
And this is not going to get him elected president. When is he going to run? He
doesn't know what to do.
Isn't he the anointed person?
I thought so.
Yeah. Well. Oh, man.
Somebody told him no. No.
Not your turn.
Whoever's running the show told him no.
Not your turn. Coming up next on No Agenda Stream and the trollroom.io and on your app if you keep it running there, Nick the Rat Radio. And he will be interviewing Mike Riley. How about that? 2 plugs in one show. That's surprising. End of show mixes. We got some doozies for you. Thanks to Jesse Coy Nelson, Dee's Laugh, Tom Starkweather, and the brilliant Sir Chris from Down Under, who is coming back after a long sabbatical. He's been a little overboard, but he's feeling good. We've been chatting. He thanks everybody for asking him to come back. We love you. We miss you, Sir Chris. Coming to you from the heart of the Texas Hill Country in FEMA Region number 6 in the morning, everybody. My name is Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I remain, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Sunday with another 2, 3, whatever hours of media deconstruction for your pleasure. Please remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until then, adios, mofos, a hooey hooey, and such.
There are 3 heads right on my desk. Who put them there? Did you think I wouldn't care? Even one would be bad, and 2 are too many. But There are three heads on my desk.
My boss walked by, I asked him why the heads were at my desk. And he told me they need to get back with their bodies. I said, I understand that. Why are they at my desk? And he told me, well, I don't know, Dale. There's a lot of strange things happening.
Hence another place that you've been trapped and tricked and brainwashed.
AI, doing work up in the sky, meeting in the cloud, trying to unplug, it's not allowed, cause our government would love the constant connectionism. Saying the quiet part out loud is just a given. Meetings to decide who can go outside. Have you been deemed essential by the pandemic worldwide? The way they nudge the public, yo, I don't want none of it. George Rivard, Yukon Zone, looking fresh and fit. Dating advice from two clowns, yo, I don't want none of it. The higher education and lower indoctrination is what the whole nation seems to be facing.
Well, please call me crazy.
Limp wrist stuff, light in the loafers. I've had enough, cause it's testosterone declining and men are hardly so buff. The other day I noticed it's a Ray at Isha say, who you rooting for 5 years ago, it hasn't changed and it never will. Here we go, we don't wanna grow. When I say we, I mean she. Royce White was so right, I mean promised to be a goner, with no sacred honor. Hating whitey is a sport, everyone can play along, bending opinions to contort. Body UND on OKC, similar to Lou Gensdort.
She's the best. Dame Jet. All our producers are fabulous. They're the best producers in the universe.
Two standards of justice in this country. So now, let me assist for the purposes of more transparency on this subject. Director Ray placed redactions on a document that's already unclassified. It's filled with redactions. Had maybe 2 or 3 half-inch redactions, not whole sentences redacted, as I'm told the document in the skiff is. Thanks to the political infections within the Biden Justice Department and the FBI, we were well along the road for that to happen. And I want everybody to remember that I have read the unredacted version, except for a couple or 3 half-inch redactions, I'd say. Thank you very much. I yield the floor.
I had a swollen amygdala. Maybe my parents didn't know how widespread swollen amygdala is. While swollen amygdala shrinks for most, that wasn't the case for me. Maybe they didn't know I would end up a douchebag SJW because of my swollen amygdala. Maybe if they'd known there's a podcast to help protect me when I was 11 or 12, maybe my parents just didn't know.
Right, Mum? Dad?
What will you say? Don't wait. Log on to your child's podcast app today. Learn more at youmightdie.org.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Obviously drunk.
100%